And for the Lions, squired in the midst of a 5-game losing streak, they need a win this afternoon to get back into the chase as they trail Chicago by 4 games. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, and welcome to Giants Stadium. We haven't even kicked off, and we've got a quarterback down. Number 12, Pittsburgh, home with illness. He's back in Texas resting. Terry Bradshaw should be back next week. We've asked Herb Cross to come across the Hudson and join us. And Herb, one of the most shocking things, if you look at the statistics sheet this week, is to find the Giants dead last in the league defensively.
Well, it's a shocker for everybody around the league, Vern, but Coach Parcells told us the reasons why. He said, first of all, we've been playing inconsistently. Secondly, we've given up big plays, and we've been playing tentatively. So he told us that before today's game, he's going to tell his ball club, if you want to get on the right track, the first thing you have to do is forget about everything that happened in the past. Come out and play aggressive football. If you do that, we'll be okay. Unfortunately, they have to do it without the services of Carl Banks, who's out with a knee injury. Johnny Cook starts for him today.
Detroit won its first. They've lost 5 in a row. Ordinarily, you grope for something positive to say about a team that is 1-5. But in the case of the Lions, they do legitimately have a couple of bright spots.
Well, most of the bright spots are on defense because Coach Darrell Rodgers said if you're going to win championships in the National Football League, you have to do it with a great defense. So they went out and got Benny Blaze, a defensive back who's made a great impression on this ball club, and Chris Spielman, a young linebacker everybody compares with Dick Butkus, if you can believe it or not, in his rookie year. But in any case, on the other side of the ball, Rusty Hilger, the quarterback for the Lions, sounds like a guy who's won 4 Super Bowls. They're very confident and feel they can come in here and play well. And if they can beat the Giants today, they really believe they can win 9 straight.
That last statement made to us yesterday by Wayne Fonts, the defensive coordinator. We have an absolutely glorious day. 66 degrees, 45%. Raul Allegre will kick off as the Lions have won the toss and elected to receive. Allegre hitting at 70% of his field goals for his career. And there is also Paul McFadden on the roster, but it'll be Allegre today. The deep men are Painter and Gary Lee. And this will be Gary Lee at the 4. Gets it back to the 24-yard line, from which point Detroit's sometimes anemic offense will put it in play. And Rusty Hilger, 2 weeks ago, coaching high school backs at El Segundo High School. Last week brought in to take Chuck Long's place, former Los Angeles Raider. And here's the Giant defense he will play. Eric Dorsey, Jim Byrd, and Leonard Marshall. The linebackers are Johnny Cook starting for Carl Banks, Pepper Johnson, Harry Carson, and Lawrence Taylor. And the secondary, Mark Collins, Perry Williams, Terry Kennard, and Kenny Hill. Rusty Hilger, 13 of 43 a week ago for 186 yards. He had only 3 practices in a Lion uniform, manly in motion. They hand it off on the sweep to the left side and don't get anything. If the entire offense has been anemic, the running game has been all but non-existent for Detroit. Here's Hilger, Gary James, James Jones, the wide receivers Pete Manley and Gary Lee. They have activated Jeff Chadwick, and we'll see him. The offensive line for Detroit, Lomas Brown, the best of the bunch, Kevin Glover, Steve Mott, who's had problems recently with snaps, Joe Malinchik, Harvey Salem, and the rookie tight end, Pat Carter. It'll be 2nd down and 10. 2nd and 11 officially. And Jeff Chadwick makes an early appearance for Detroit. He lines up wide to the left side. That is Manley as they go with a 3-wide receiver set on 2nd and 11. And hand it off to James Jones. Looks for a block from Carter and gets one. He's out of bounds up near the 31-yard line. Tackle made by Terry Kennard. This is an interesting contrast, Irv, because the Lions have been running the ball at only 72 yards per game. And the Giants, almost inexplicably, have been giving up big yards on the ground.
It's really hard to explain, too. When you take a look at the Giants historically, they've done a good job overall in defense, particularly against the run defense. But Coach Parcells said that in order for his club to get an upbeat tempo today, they're going to have to be aggressive football players today and forget about making mistakes. Just come across with reckless abandon.
Here's another problem for Detroit, graphically demonstrated, ineptitude on 3rd downs. They go from the shotgun, Rusty Hilger. Gary James starts in motion, then comes back. 5-man rush, and the pass is complete. That's good for the 1st down to Gary James at the 37-yard line. Adrian White, the nickelback, makes the tackle for the Giants of New York.
An interesting play, but Pepper Johnson had the coverage in that particular play as Gary James came out of the backfield into the flat. Pepper Johnson was assigned to him. As he came across to try to pick him up, he was knocked off by one of his teammates, and of course James came up with the 1st down.
Now another substitution for the Lions. Carl Painter, rookie running back, number 26, is in. He has not seen a lot of action, though they do like him. Double tight end set for Detroit. Chadwick is lined in tight. They tried the sweep to the left. It's Carl Painter, who came in with only 31 yards in the season. And Eric Howard, who had come in for Jim Burt, makes the tackle at nose guard. There's Painter, a rookie out of Hampton Institute in Virginia.
Coach Rogers told us he's not looking for a lot from his running game. If he can get 3.1 or 3.2 yards on first down, they'll be successful. You can see right now the Lions are in a hole here, 2nd and long.
Running game has been a problem. And now Rusty Hilger comes up. Hilger with the Los Angeles Raiders as a starter a week ago, tossed out of the club's plans when Mike Shanahan took over as head coach. He was listed as the 4th-team quarterback through much of the summer. Here's James Jones coming left. Carter doesn't get the block he needs. And Jones is driven out of bounds for no gain. Terry Kennard got there. And of all the running backs who have had problems in the last year and a half, here's one. Almost inexplicable. In the first 8 games of '86, more than 1,000 yards. In the next 25 games, a total of only 761.
It's really surprising when you look at that graphic, because James Jones came up with a great reputation as being a power runner who could do it all, run inside and run outside well, but he hasn't done it today.
3rd and 11. And Chadwick and Carl Bland are the wide receivers. See if the Giants are blitzing. They got a 7-man front. They're sending only 3 now, a delayed blitz. And the pass right side is incomplete. Intended for Jones. Or Carl Bland, rather. And the Lions will have to punt. That'll bring on Jim Arnold. Bill McConkey goes back to return the punt. And Arnold, who was the only Pro Bowl member of this Lions squad last year, he is on the punt. He's averaging 43 yards a punt almost this year. And McConkey, the feisty little veteran, back to return the punt. Asked Darryl Rogers about his problems, and he says personnel. He said, look around. How many did we have in the Pro Bowl last year? 1, the punter.
He said one of the problems in the National Football League is you can't turn over personnel very quickly. It takes a long time to get it done.
That is a fine punt. And McConkey waits for it to 17. Excellent downfield coverage as well. Bruce McNorton made the tackle, 47-yard punt, 5 on the return. Time has been called. Giants have the ball.
You have a problem in warm-ups?
I like that. Rusty Hilger, normally they're talking to the offensive coordinator upstairs. He's just introducing himself. Rusty Hilger now with 10 practices for the Lions. Got the first down out of Oklahoma State. And in the meantime, Phil Simms and the New York Giants come up. We have a change in the offensive line. Eric Moore starts at right guard. Damian Johnson came up with back spasms and will not play. So Moore and Riesenberg at the right side. Hand off Joe Morris going left. And driven down after a very minor gain by Jerry Ball, the nose tackle. Let's check the defense for Detroit, and it is a good one. Eric Williams, Jerry Ball, and Keith Ferguson up front. Reggie Rogers now on the injured reserve list. Jamison starts for Jimmy Williams, who's inactive. Chris Spielman, Dennis Gibson, and Michael Kofer, the best of the bunch. And the defensive secondary will have Jerry Holmes, fresh from the Jets, McNorton, Griffin, and Benny Blades, the rookie. 2nd down, 10. They hand it to Morris, and he comes right. Turns the corner, out of bounds to the 30-yard line. That'll leave 3rd and 1. Giant offense has Simms at quarterback, Joe Morris the running back, and he needs 59 yards to become the all-time ground gainer for the Giants. Maurice Carthen the fullback, Lionel Manuel having a heck of a year, and Stephen Baker, the second-year man, the tiny guy at wide receiver. Robertson Ard at the left side, Oates at center. There's the change we spoke of. Eric Moore for Damian Johnson. Doug Riesenberg, who's played quite well in the last couple of weeks. And Mark Bavaro is the tight end. 3rd and 2. Morris. No! George Jamison, number 58. And he will be the focal point of a lot of the attack this afternoon. Bill Parcells says we want to test him.
Right, Vern, you know, normally they would have Jimmy Williams playing on that side for the Lions, but he's out with an injury. He's their best run defender. George Jamison, number 58, does a tremendous job on his quick off tackle play, shutting it down. That was the logical place to run it. He just beat the offense.
Pete Manley back to return the punt now. Maury Buford. Sean Landeta, by the way, is ready to come off injured reserve. But Buford's the number 2 punter in the league. Not with this effort. Here's Manley, and the Lions are going to have terrific field position. Back to midfield. After that line drive punt of 38 yards to Maury Buford and a 16-yard Pete Manley return. Lions have it for the second time first quarter. Wayne Fontes, defensive coordinator of the Lions. That has been the best part of this Lions squad this year, that and the kicking game with Ed Murray and Jim Arnold. But everywhere you go around the league, you hear a lot of admiration expressed toward line defense.
They've done a tremendous job. Their first-class defense already. A little young in a couple of spots, but they've given everybody who's played all they can handle.
Rusty Hilger, quarterback in the second line series, 1st and 10 from the 50. Giants adjust their defense, backs in the eye. And it's Gary James. That's a nice game down to the 43-yard line. Terry Kennard with the tackle. Funny, if you ask the Lions personnel about the problems with the running game, you get different answers from everybody.
Darryl Rogers has a great answer. He said, what do you do with a running back who doesn't do a pretty good job running? Well, it's easy. Just shoot him and get another one. They do it to horses, don't they? But he's kind of joking about it. But really, running backs or great running backs have a feel for the seams upfield. They cut back and they find those openings on their own. You can't coach it.
Carl Painter into the line backfield, second down and 2. 3 wide receiver sets. And a change by Hilger. Big problems for Hilger in learning the plays just a week and a half. Goes left. Pass is caught. Struggled for the first down and did not get it. Lawrence Taylor makes the tackle on Carl Painter. And LT back off the suspended list. He, like so many of these Giant defenders, just a step slow. They haven't played with aggressiveness.
Well, he's missed a lot of time. Vern, he's been out. He was out because of the drug suspension and everything. He really isn't at full tilt yet. He's a week or two away, but when he gets rolling, there's no one any better. He's playing decent football, but for Lawrence Taylor, it's only an average performance.
3rd and 1. Eric Sanders comes in as a third tight end now. No score in the game, opening moments. That's Carter in motion. And that will move the chain down to the 40-yard line. Gary James gets a first down. As a tandem, the 2 running backs for Detroit, neither above 250 yards for the season.
Vern, this is something we didn't see last week with Rusty Hilger at quarterback. He'd come in at hardly any notice at all, and he didn't know the offense. He couldn't call a running play in the huddle, so he threw the ball every time he was in there. Now he does have a little better command of the Lion offense, mixing up his plays, running past, and has a complete game plan at his disposal today.
1st and 10, no score in the game. 8:35 to go, first quarter. Second Detroit series of the ball game. Giants threaten the blitz. Play fake. Hilger back. Nailed. Perry Williams. They came with a quarterback blitz.
You wonder why quarterbacks are getting hurt in the National Football League. Perry Williams was lined up 10 yards from the offensive tackle. There's no way he could get there before the ball was thrown away. You think not? Take a look at this. Perry Williams, you can't see him on your screen now on the right side of your screen. Here he comes to the top of your screen right now, full tilt, knocking the quarterback down. He was simply unaccounted for. You can't account for a player 15 yards off the line of scrimmage once the ball snaps.
So Perry Williams gets his first sack of the season. And that is something the Giants also have not been doing with great frequency. It'll be a loss of 8 and 2nd down and 18. Hilger looks over at John Witkowski, who was signed as a backup quarterback. And here's another of the problems the Lions will have because of the newness of Hilger in that spot. The 45-second clock. Hilger calls timeout. No score, first quarter. We're midway through it. Zip, zip at Giant Stadium. On a 2nd down and 18, Rusty Hilger didn't read the play correctly or didn't know exactly what they wanted. Called timeout. He is getting the plays flashed in. John Witkowski, who was signed as the 2nd-string quarterback, gets the play from Bob Baker, the offensive coordinator. That's how Hilger gets it. And that time, something went awry. 2nd and 18. Gary James, the motion man for the Lions. They try the middle. James Jones, and a flag is down. Referee Dick Hantak flew the flag, first of the day. Harry Carson made the tackle, holding Detroit. Phoenix leading Washington. What a surprise the Cardinals have been. Philadelphia, Cleveland scoreless. New England over Cincinnati. They recovered a fumble in the end zone. Extra point missed in that Houston game.
Holding. Offense. Number 52. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
Steve Mott, the center, guilty of the hold. Poor Steve Mott in the last couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago in San Francisco, he dribbled a ball on the ground back to his quarterback, Eric Hipple. Last week, in a critical circumstance, Mott had one sail 20 feet over the head of Rusty Hilger.
It's amazing. One time he thought the quarterback was right under him and he centered the ball and snapped it straight up in the air. Imagine that instead of being in the shotgun.
Second down, 28. Giant cornerbacks both come up. Now they drop off in soft coverage. Hilger back. Here comes Lawrence Taylor. Second sack of the game. Taylor powered in over Carl Pater.
Simple physical mismatch. Everybody was in the proper position offensively to pick up the blitz, but when you have Carl Pater at 185 pounds trying to block Lawrence Taylor, it's not going to happen. Number 26, Carl Pater, trying to pick up the block here, is simply destroyed as Lawrence Taylor drove him into the quarterback and made a typical Taylor sack.
And I think one reason that Carl Pater is in there is because Gary James has had problems blocking in that offensive backfield. That's the 4th sack of the year by Lawrence Taylor. And so Pater trying to put the block on Taylor didn't work. 3rd and 38. They need to get to the 29-yard line of New York. 3-man rush. Hilger right side, settles for decent yardage, and that'll give Jim Arnold a chance to punt it farther down into Giant territory. Amazing, a sellout crowd here once again, but Irv, it's been a very quiet crowd.
Very docile crowd. They're not quite sure if they should root for the Giants or not. I think they're really waiting for the team to show them something to get excited about. Whether it's going to happen with a great defensive player or an offensive player, they need some reason to stand on their feet and cheer for the Giants, and right now they haven't seen it.
Second punt for Jim Arnold. Phil McConkey, 5-yard return the first time out. 4th and 28. That's good, but not as good. Fair catch. McConkey at the 19-yard line. So the Giants get it back for the second time. There's a flag down, however, back at the line of scrimmage. And we'll see if it's the receivers leaving the line of scrimmage early, or is it against New York? Ineligible downfield, looks like the call.
That happens so often, Vern. The wide receivers have to look inside. They're okay.
Ineligible. Number 98 offense. Downfield. Repeat the down. 4th down.
That's the linebacker, Dennis Gibson. So now Arnold will have to do it all over again.
I mean, the wide receivers are eligible to go ahead and go downfield before the kick, but everybody inside from tackle to tackle has to wait until the ball is kicked before they leave the line of scrimmage and crept upfield too soon.
Now we'll check the difference in field position now as McConkey waits for it again at the 19. 4th and 33 it should have been. Here comes the rush. They almost got it, flagged down, running into the kicker. Tom Flynn got there and missed the ball. And this should be Lions ball with the first down. Running into...
It's a game of inches, Vern. Flynn comes awfully close to making this block. There goes the kick, and there goes his arm. Looks like the ball went between his arms. Ran into the kicker, and that's going to get you a flag every time.
Now there is roughing the kicker and running into the kicker. And it's a big difference.
This will be running into the kicker.
And that's a 5-yard penalty.
5-yard penalty, but it's still... The Lions get another crack at it.
And it'll be 4th down. Still 4th down.
Still 4th down.
I misspoke.
Running into the kicker. Defense, number 28. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 4th down.
And that is a new rule change this year. Roughing the kicker is an automatic first down. Running into is a 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
I think that's a great rule, because why should the defense be penalized on a play like that? Of course, he ran into the kicker. You don't want to do that, but in the same sense, why give them an automatic first down on a penalty that's going to either be 5 or 15?
So for the third straight play, Arnold punts. And this is a terrific punt. Another fair catch. McConkey at the 5. No flags, and after all of that, the Lions gain 4 yards in field position as New York takes over at its own 15. No score, 6:20 to go, first quarter. .620 to go, first quarter at Giants Stadium. Detroit 1-5, the Giants 3-3. New York coming in with an offense that has averaged 4 yards on first down, but that's good for only 26th best in the league. First and 10 now, and field position has been Detroit's. Bill Sims yet to throw a pass. Giants ran 3 plays and got the punt. 2 wide receivers wide to the left. Sims, as Irv said in the NFL today, playing with a bunged up right knee. And he'll throw for the first down. Centers from Maurice Carpenter. And they pick up about 3, maybe 4. Chris Spielman, the rookie linebacker from Ohio State, made the tackle.
Here's a young man that people are already touting to be a future Hall of Famer. He's only played 6 ball games in the National Football League, but he's being compared now favorably with Dick Butkus. We know what he did through his career in the National Football League. He's a very aggressive football player, high energy player. Gets everybody excited around him.
He's another of those guys who's too small, 6-footer, 247. And then they turn out to be terrors like Mike Singletary in Chicago. Quick screen, left side. Nice dart by Stephen Baker out to the 24. That's short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 2. And right now, let's go across the Hudson to Brent Musburger in our New York studios.
Well, Vern, here is the Cardinal touchdown against the Redskins. Touchdown pass number 11 by Lomax to Roy Green. But the Redskins just got on the board. A good punt, and then they tackle Lomax in the end zone for the safety. 7-2 right now, Phoenix. Let's go back to Vern and Irv.
All right, Brent, I think the Cardinals may be as big a surprise as Cincinnati.
Well, yeah, but you know, Coach Parcells had an interesting observation. He said he knows what it's like to go into Redskins Stadium and try to win a big one. We'll see how good the Cardinals are today. So.
Joe Morris? No, it's Otis Anderson. Anderson replaced Morris, and he's out to the 25 for the first down. Boy, has he been around a long time. 10-year veteran. Every year, the last couple of years, you think in the final cut, well, that's it for Otis. Bill Parcells keeps him around.
Very reliable. Good blocker, good runner, excellent pass receiver, does everything well. Lost a step or 2. The guy's still worth a lot for you.
Giants first down. No score in the game. 4.5 to go first quarter, and Sims will throw. Across the middle, Otis Anderson, there's what Earl was talking about. Breaks the tackle, and he gets it out to the 35-yard line.
Vern, people don't think of Otis Anderson as being a power-type runner because he's basically a halfback, but he runs with fullback power. By that I mean he has the ability to really drive through people. He'll take this pass from Sims, and once he gathers the ball under his arm, he'll look upfield for the first tackler. Watch what he does to him. Breaks him away with his leg, his thigh, coming up and breaking that tackler away, breaking the tackle, coming upfield for another 8 yards. A great run.
That was George Jameson who missed the tackle, and Otis Anderson, the 10-year man out of Miami. First down, New York, second consecutive first down. Parcells says of his team, we need to get something happening. We've won a game, lost a game, won a game, lost a game, won a game, lost a game. Right now, with the schedule in our favor, if we can put together a streak of 4 or 5 in a row, we might be able to really make some noise. And they do have the favorite schedule. Anderson again. Found the fountain this morning on his way to the stadium. Keith Ferguson with the tackle.
It never fails. You know, when you really need it, you go to the old pros and they come up with it some kind of way. Otis Anderson running inside this trap. Great lead block there by number 67, Bill Ard. Comes through that hole. Again, looking for tacklers and is barreling his way upfield, showing that power from his waist down. Tremendous power in those thighs.
13 yards on 2 carries, and this should be just short of the first down. It is. A couple of chain links.
Really a great position to be in, though, because now you really have a waist down. With second and less than a yard, you can pretty much do what you want to do, run or pass. And O.J. is really sucking it up. He hasn't played a lot in the last few years, and he's being called on today to carry the load. And he's done a good job of it.
He stays in. I don't think this was an injury to Joe Morris that caused Anderson to come in. We'll check on that. Second down, less than a foot. No score, 3:45 to go, first quarter. Fullback, Carthen, first down, and across midfield for the first time for the Giants. They have a first down at the Detroit 48-yard line. There's another one with a few yards for the year. Maurice Carthen only 36. Wayne Fonts looks on. That'll be a 1st and 10. Bill Sims told Irv and me yesterday, we want to run on them. We believe we can run on them. We particularly want to run at Jamison using Bavaro's blocking. Now he'll throw on first down. Safety valve, Carthen takes a shot from Jamison and gets it to the 42. Jamison is a second-year man from Cincinnati who's replacing Jimmy Williams.
You can really expect Sims to have a high percentage completion today because the Lions play a relatively soft secondary. They like to come up with their corners, take away the wide receivers, and then play their safeties fairly deep. So he can throw in front of them almost all day long. And George Jamison's going to get a workout trying to stop that run.
Jamison shaken up, has been replaced by Danny Lockett. Handed off to Otis. This time knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Eric Williams was a part of the tackle. Phoenix over Washington as we check the CBS Sports Wire and midway through the season. Cleveland with an early lead over Philly. New England over Cincinnati. Houston scored a touchdown, missed the extra point. Raiders lead Kansas City. Eric Dickerson had that touchdown for Indianapolis. And Green Bay missed an extra point. 3rd and 3 from the shotgun. There's George Jamison on the bench, and George Adams comes into the lineup for the Giants. The 3rd down specialist. McConkey in motion. 3-man rush for Detroit. Sims. Bavaro, first down, 35. Michael Cofer with the tackle.
Mark Bavaro, sorry, Vern, but Mark Bavaro is beginning to show the all-pro class he has. He missed a lot of training camp this year and started relatively slowly. Had a great game Monday night except for one drop ball. But this guy can do it all. He's all-world at tight end, great blocker, great pass receiver, and he's starting to come back to form.
Unfortunately, that one drop came on a 4th down at the 5-yard line. But to give a New York lead. Otis Anderson goes left. This time, nothing there. So George Jamison stays on the bench for Detroit, and Danny Lockett has taken his place. Lockett, the second-year man from Arizona. And we'll check again on Joe Morris, but we do not believe it's an injury. Anderson in the lineup. Second down, 11. Goal at the 7. A 28-yard gain, the 36th catch of the year for Lionel Manuel.
Nice pattern run by Lionel Manuel. The cornerback rolls up on him. And what he's supposed to do is sort of take him at the short zone and feed him over to the safety, but the safety bit. James Griffin came up and he really sort of stayed back inside to help deep. And Manuel winds up with a reception in the first down.
Joe Morris back into the lineup now on 1st and goal. No score in the game. Final play if they get it off. They do. Joe Morris for 1 yard. And that will end the first quarter of play. Chris Spielman with the tackle. And it's the end of the first quarter of play.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Lite, official sponsor of the Miller Lite NFL Lineman of the Year Award. Miller Brewing is the exclusive beer sponsor of today's telecast. Prudential Bates Securities, rock solid market-wise. And by Dodge Cars and Trucks, on the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge.
Back to play at quarter number 2. Vern Lundquist and Herb Cross from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford. A 12-play drive, 79 yards, and they've taken 620 thus far. Typical of the kind of patience you have to show against the Detroit, Herb.
That's what Phil Simms was telling us yesterday. You can't get over anxious against this defense. You have to nickel and dime them to drive the ball into the end zone.
Joe Morris, the running back. 2 wide receivers to the left. Second and goal. Manuel in motion. And Simms back. Throws it away. Intended, but only half-heartedly for Bavaro. That's the first Simms miss. 6 of 7 on this drive.
But he did throw that one away. He wanted Bavaro. He was covered. He had a couple of linebackers shielding him from his view and decided to go ahead and throw it out of bounds and line up and try it again. In here, inside the 20-yard line, Detroit will go into a pretty aggressive man-to-man coverage, and Simms is really trying to pick up where the weakness was and good coverage.
Third and goal. No score. Opening moment, second quarter. Ball at the 5-yard line. 6. Manuel in motion. 3-man rush. Drills a touchdown. Mark Bavaro right between the 8 and 9. Only his second touchdown of the year. Third.
The guy who was probably most upset on the field right now is number 36, Benny Blades, who played against Bavaro when he was in college. Bavaro at Notre Dame, Blades at Miami. And there he is for the touchdown. He says, I can hardly wait to play against Bavaro today because I remember him when we were in college.
That was when Blades was a freshman. Here's Allegre for the extra point. Excellent drive by the Giants, and Allegre's kick is up and good. A 6-yard touchdown toss. Phil Simms to Mark Bavaro. The Giants go 85 yards and get the first score. Mark Bavaro gets the touchdown on 3rd and goal from the 6, his second TD catch of the year, and a 7-0 New York lead after the 85-yard drive. Simms was 7 of 8 for 66 yards. Giants 2 quarterback sacks so far to halt Detroit after they had crossed midfield, and total offense 91 yards, but they got 85 of those on that last drive. Raul Allegre will kick off, and the deep man for Detroit, Gary Lee and Carl Painter. 7-0 Giants. As the Lions receive Carl Painter at the 8. Ball down to 24. Mark Bavaro snuck in from the right side. Let's take a look at Phil Simms in action from the end zone on that touchdown toss, Herb Cross.
You can really see Phil Simms' ability to read a defense. He's picking up number 98, the right inside linebacker. Here he comes. Once he goes away, he knows he can come back to the other side of the field and find Mark Bavaro in the end zone. A great read by Simms and a touchdown catch that made it look routine.
In between Benny Blades and George Jameson. There is Bavaro, and here come the Lions with Rusty Hilger at quarterback. Chuck Long and Eric Hipple back home watching in Detroit, both on the injured list. 1st and 10, Lions. Steve Mott, the center, and backs are split. Gary James tries to cut it back and gets just a couple, and that's one of the things that Darryl Rogers says is a problem for them in the running game. They don't have a natural cutback runner.
And you can't really find the reason for why they haven't been able to run the ball. Their offensive linemen, you talk to every one of them, they say, we don't know what it is. The holes are there, and then they close, and we go outside of the hole. We don't hit it properly. There are all kinds of problems. I know one problem, of course, is that every offensive lineman up there is banged up with some kind of an injury, except the center, Steve Mott.
It'll be 2nd down, 7. 7-0. Giants lead. Backs in the eye. Chadwick just off the injured list with an Achilles problem. He's wide left, and it's Manley in motion. Play fake. Hilger drills it. Chadwick first down at the 41. Flag is down in the offensive backfield. So hold everything. Holding Detroit.
That's the other problem. When they start getting things going, they find themselves hampered with penalties. Last week, must have had a record of team penalties.
12
Holding.
for 134.
Offense, number 75, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Lomas Brown was the man who was holding. And he's working against a man who has been ineffective for most of this season, Leonard Marshall.
Leonard Marshall is determined to have a good day today. He's had a groin problem and hasn't been as effective as he had been in the past. And Lomas Brown, of course, knows Leonard. They played against each other in college, too. He was at Florida, and Leonard Marshall was at LSU. And Leonard was a little bigger, a little older than Lomas, and he's looking forward to playing against him today.
2nd and 17 after the first down was wiped out. 13:35 to go first down. And Pat Carter in motion. Gary James out to the 21-yard line. Tackle made by Harry Carson, the 13-year man for the Giants. Said we've just been giving up too many big plays.
You know, Vern, as an old defensive coach, you always watch to see how a defense reacts to a play, particularly running plays. In that particular play, there were 8 giant players around the ball carrier. The only people who weren't there were 3 deep backs who were coming to him because they were reading pass first and run, but 8 giant defensive players were around that ball carrier.
And Carson said they had stressed in practice all week, get to the ball, get to the ball. That's one thing they have not been doing. 3rd and a bunch, and the Giants threaten the blitz. Rusty Hilger hit as he lets it go. No flag. Now flags are down. Hilger was not knocked down, but he was bumped. Gary Lee, the intended receiver. Gary Reasons is the man who came through on the blitz and got him. But let's check the flag.
Interference, defense, number 23, first down.
Well, Perry Williams has a sack and an interference call now.
Perry Williams is the defender working here. On the upper left of your screen, the ball's away, and there's a little contact there. You can see it knocked him off before the ball arrived, and Perry's saying, hey, is that on me? Sure it was. You blocked him 5 yards before the ball arrived.
First down, Detroit. They trail 7-0. We've got 12:37 to go, first quarter, first half. Nice gain by Gary James out to the 41-yard line. Tackle is made again by Harry Carson. That's 6 carries for 25 yards, a total of 31 on the ground now for Detroit.
That's the most successful running play the Lions have had today. 8 yards on first down. Again, Coach Rodgers said if he can get 3.2 per carry, he'd be happy. So now they're in a position to have their offense either run or pass and control the tempo of the game.
Dead last in the league as a tandem behind the 49ers, Roger Craig and Tom Rathman, but just over 300 yards as a twosome. 2nd and 1. And again, Hilger's going to have to call timeout. That is going to be a problem throughout the day. You've got a man who is in his first full week as a quarterback in a brand new system. And he's trying to get the plays signal in from the sidelines instead of run in with a player. Time has been called to 2nd by the Lions.
The rule simply states that once your hand comes forward, it's a forward pass. Now, this is really close. But Cooks, coming from the top of your screen here, will hit Hilger just as he brings his arm back. There it is. No question about it. It's a fumble.
It was on the way back. His arm came forward, but without the ball. Turnover. Toss to Joe Morris. Barton leads the way. He gets by Spielman. Flag is down. And so is Joe Morris at the 28. Benny Blades made the tackle. That really is an interesting and a tough call for the referee to make, but he made that call right on the mark.
I don't know how they do that without having some kind of a TV monitor or something to help them out, but the rule simply states that once your arm comes forward, it's a forward pass.
Holding, offense, number 89, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down, first down.
Mark Bavaro with the penalty, wipes out the run, and murmurs resound. Here's Rusty Hilger. I'm sure he was pleading the fact that he was trying to throw it, and he was, but he had not started forward with the ball. 1st and 20. Backs in the eye. 7-0 New York leads it. Play fake and Sims back. Blitz coming. Sims with 5 throws it away. And Jerry Ball, all of him right in his face. There's Jerry Ball. He's the whole package.
Great nose tackle, Vern. If there's a rap on Jerry Ball, the scouts say, well, he's 6'1", 290 pounds. He's the kind of a nose tackle you want in there. He plays the run real well, but he'll probably never be a great pass rusher because his arms are too short. Can you imagine that? He stands 6'1", but I guess if he had longer arms, he'd be a better pass rusher.
Jerry told Terry Bradshaw last year, I want to bring the art of nose tackle to a higher dimension.
Oh, boy.
I like that. 2nd down and 20. Play fake again. Topher coming. They get rid of it. Bavaro fumble. Lions have the ball. And here we go. Bruce McNorton all the way down to the 40-yard line. A one-hopper right into the arms of Bruce McNorton after Benny Blades had made the hit on Mark Bavaro. A 35-yard return.
Mark Bavaro running a crossing pattern, trying to work his way into an open zone, coming across field. Now, Sims sees him right now. Bavaro spotting where the linebackers are. And the deep backs finds that open spot. He doesn't quite have control of the ball. Benny Blades, remember, he gave that touchdown pass up earlier in the game. Makes up for it there, forcing the fumble. And number 29, Bruce McNorton, picks it up. The Lions defensive coaches told us that they didn't feel Bavaro could beat them. They wanted to shut off the outside, the wide receivers, and force them to throw the ball inside of Bavaro.
Turnovers now even at 1-1, both on the last series. And motion. Oh, boy. And that's going to happen with the Cajuns call. They'll bring it back. It'll be 5 yards against the Lions. I mean, this sort of thing will happen in the NFL, but it must be awfully difficult for the Lions just to try and get a quarterback ready to play in a league game like this with a week.
But you have to admire their attitude. And they feel like with their defense, they're going to stay in the game. You know, if Hilder can come up with a reasonably good offensive drive, they'll have a chance to win the football game. They think they can win with their defense alone. And you have to tip your hat to them because they play spirited football.
There's the call. By the way, you saw that Chicago lead over Dallas. That was on a reverse by Dennis McKinnon, but here's the call from Handtag.
Illegal motion. Offense. Number 30. Penalty is declined. Second down.
It's on James Jones. Back to that Dallas-Chicago game for a moment. Yet one more quarterback has gone down. Steve Pallor suffered a concussion in the first half of that game, and Danny White, the veteran, has come on for the Cowboys. It's really like the plague.
Open season on quarterbacks. Rusty Hilder told us one reason why he thinks his injuries are developing is because when the Bears won the Super Bowl a few years ago, they did it with McMahon being a very reckless quarterback, reckless with his body and blocking people and everything else. And coaches saw that and said, gee, if the Bears are successful doing that with McMahon, let's do it with our quarterbacks. And now we have quarterbacks blocking on reverses. When they're running out of there, they can't find people, run upfield trying to get yardage. And, of course, Pallor is one of these guys who does that. If he goes back to pass, there's nobody open, he'll take off and try to challenge those linebackers and defensive linemen. And the quarterbacks are just going down like flies.
There's a heck of a delay going on down in the field, and I'm not sure what the cause of it is. There was some kind of a consultation. And now we are told that the paging system from the replay booth down to the crew, the officiating crew, were inoperative for the moment. They've got them fixed. I couldn't figure out why the delay, but that was it. And we're back to play. Bill Parcells looks on now in his 6th year. He was a draft choice of the Lions. A 7th-round draft choice in 1964. And I asked him yesterday if he even reported to camp. He said, heck no, I wanted to coach. I knew I couldn't play. Second down and 10, 7-0. Lions trail the New York Times. Harry James. Taylor coming. Georgia going deep. James is down there. It is all dropped. Kennard had it. As Kennard had gone deep with Chadwick and Collins had gone deep with James. And it was right in the arms of Terry Kennard, but he couldn't hang on.
That's one of those plays that Kennard looks at the tape and say, my goodness, how did I miss it? They have good coverage here. Chadwick going deep on the lower part of your screen here. Appears to be open just for a split second, but Terry Kennard comes over from a safety position with great position, both hands on the ball. All you have to do is hold on to it. They come from the interception. You know, you'll seldom get an opportunity to make a play like that.
3rd and 10. 3 wide receivers set for the Lions at the 39-yard line. They scored 31 in their win over Atlanta, the only win they've had. And they've averaged just 10 per game since then. Dilger being chased by Leonard Marshall. Lets it go, man wide open. Gary James, touchdown Detroit. Oh, mercy.
One of the first rules of thumb for all defensive backs and linebackers when a pass pattern breaks down is to plaster. The Giants were in a full rush here. And Leonard Marshall was putting tremendous pressure on Hilger. Hilger, just using his great athletic instincts here, rolls out and buys time. Now Pepper Johnson, number 52, is responsible for staying with the back here. Gary James, 33, but he dropped him when he thought Hilger wasn't going to throw the ball to him. Result, touchdown Detroit.
Ed Murray on to try and tie it up. He's perfect so far this year, but hasn't had many opportunities for extra points. And on what amounts to a broken play, with Leonard Marshall chasing Rusty Hilger, Gary James gets by Pepper Johnson for a 39-yard tying touchdown grab.
King of Beasts.
The King of Beasts, okay. His first touchdown catch of the year for Gary James. 39 yards in 3 plays. After the 35-yard Bruce McNorton return with a fumble recovery off of Mark Bavaro's catch. We're tied. Ed Murray will kick off. 7-7 ball game. Clouds filtering in above Giant Stadium. And that would be a touchback. Mark Collins wanted to run it out. Kenny Hill said, forget it. Good ball game here. And we expect a dandy one coming up. Second half of today's NFL doubleheader on CBS. Most of you will watch the Rams and San Francisco, except in the New York metropolitan area, of course, where there will be no second game. Many of you will see the 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams. Others watch New Orleans, Seattle, or some of you will watch Atlanta at Denver. All that coming up after our ball game here on CBS. Rusty Hilger, touchdown toss, his first. Devon Mitchell has come in defensively for the Lions. That pass brought by Joe Morris wide open at the 25, and a flag away from the ball. Bavaro and Spielman were mixing it up. And let's see if that might be where the call is. Holding defensively. Now, it might have been Jamison. It was either Spielman or Jamison. 58 or 54.
Holding. Defense. Number 54. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Chris Spielman. Sellout crowd at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford. Giants went 85 yards early in the second quarter for a touchdown. The catch made by Bavaro. The Lions came back on a 39-yard pass. Hilger to Gary James. We're tied at 7. Gordon on Christopher. Joe Morris darts to the outside. George Jamison up over the top to make the tackle at the 28-yard line. Joe Morris now with 12 yards on 5 carries. He needed 59 coming in to surpass Alex Webster as the all-time ground gainer for the Giants. You played against him, right?
Yeah, Big Red ran against me a few times, ran over me a few times.
I'll bet you got your fair share. Second and 5. Sims across the middle. Bavaro. Mark caught 9 in the loss to Philadelphia Monday night, and now those are some derisive cheers from the Giant fans because he held on to this one. He had fumbled the last catch.
A little bit of a sarcastic crowd, I guess, but I think people are expected
not here.
I think so. I think the fans are expecting the Giants to sort of roll over Detroit, but Detroit has a first-class defense. Keep that in mind. It's not going to be an easy ball game for New York today.
9:34 to go first half. Joe Morris, sweep right. Dennis Gibson comes knifing through, number 98, and makes the tackle. Nice play by the linebacker. He's the quiet linebacker of this bunch.
One thing the Giants thought they could do is run to their right side of their offensive line. Doug Riesenberg going against Eric Williams, or the outside linebacker over there, George Jamison, who's filling in for Jimmy Williams, and they just haven't been able to get the job done. George Jamison has proved to be more of a formidable force than they expected him to be.
Phil Simms for the game. 9 of 11 for 89 yards. Second down and 10. Clark in motion. Blitz coming. Full blitz. Spielman has to pull up and not knock Simms down, and Simms has to throw it away as Chris Spielman was right in his face. It'll be 3rd and 10. Here's a kid who really has made an impact on this Lion defensive squad.
There are lots of ways to put pressure on quarterbacks. When you have a quarterback like Simms who likes to stay in the pocket, the best way to do it is come right up the middle. And Spielman on this particular dog came right over the center, right in Simms' face. Simms saw him all the way, made the decision to throw the ball away rather than take the hit, because remember, he has that gimpy right leg today.
McConkey comes in. Giants go for the shotgun. Lions adjust, and they've got their 5 defensive backs in. Give you a chance to find McNorton. Sims close to the line of scrimmage, and a fine defensive play by James Griffin. And a flag on the far side of the field. Intended for McConkey, knocked down by Griffin. Where's the flag? May have been across the line of scrimmage. Yep. That's loss of down.
He crossed the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. He couldn't quite tell where he was, and an illegal forward pass. And right now, it looks like the middle of the game.
Illegal pass. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Loss of down.
Momentum in this game is swinging towards the Lions.
Sims a little exasperated. And Maury Buford on the punt. That's Pete Manley back to return it. Had a 16-yard return earlier in the game. His long of the year is 25. 7-7 ball game. 8:45 to go first half. Lions trying to break a 5-game losing streak. Very little pressure and a nice punt by Buford. Manley at the 17. Tom Flynn misses a tackle. George Adams makes one. And the ball is down at the 21-yard line. 47-yard punt, 5 on the return. Pete Manley, leading receiver for the Lions. Well, I don't know how we'll top yesterday in college football. That was just a wonderful game to watch. Notre Dame and Miami. Next week, Penn State against Alabama. Bill Curry's the subject of a lot of conversation down in Alabama, and Joe Paterno's bunch lost last night to Syracuse. But when they hook it up, it usually is a dandy, and that's next Saturday live, 2:30 Eastern Time here on CBS. First and 10, Lions in a 7-7 ball game. Hilger 4 of 7 for 57 yards. Toss, Gary James, and an excellent job stringing the ball out by Gary Reasons, number 55.
This is the kind of game, Vern, where you hope somebody sort of stands up and takes charge. You know, both clubs are kind of sparring away with their pretty solid defenses, but really no one has been able to kind of show any kind of dominance at all. And I think it's going to come from the defensive side of the ball. Again, a big turnover. Detroit picked off an interception to set up a scoring opportunity for them, and that's the kind of a day we're going to have here. It's going to be defenses slugging it out.
How about Green Bay over Minnesota rather? Second down and 10. 7-7 game. Manley again in motion. Tried to sweep. Gary James cuts it inside. A flag comes flying. That usually indicates holding, and I'll bet it's going to be on Pat Carter, number 87. At least they threw it right at his feet. That's usually a pretty good sign.
That's a good indication.
If you talk to some of the Lions about the problems with the running game, they say that Carter, the rookie tight end out of Florida State, hasn't really been able to block that well on the run.
Offense, number 87, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Vern, it's a real difficult position to play because a tight end has to be a combination of several things. He has to be big enough and strong enough to be an offensive lineman to block down on defensive tackles and linebackers. He has to be fast enough to get upfield, to run deep patterns against deep backs, and have good hands to be a receiver. And it's a very difficult position to play. Mark Bavaro does it better than anybody in the league, and I guess people in New York take it for granted. But Pat Carter has the tools, the potential to become a great tight end. Right now, he has to work on his blocking.
Second down and 20 in a 7-7 ball game with 7:24 to go first half. They'll try to run. Gary James, nice swift moves out to the 22-yard line. Gary Reasons with the tackle. But James is running quite effectively, Herb, here in the first half.
Yes, and most of it against this 30 defense that the Giants are showing. The Lions said they don't see this 30 very much. They're used to running against that Bear defense that Chicago runs. But here's a trap to the left. The guards pick up the in men on the line. Leonard Marshall's being blown out of there, and Gary James follows that block upfield for a nice gain. So this is one of the few times the Lions offensive line has seen a defense they like to work against.
Lomas Brown, number 75, at left tackle, told us last night, I love to run against the 3-4, base 3-4, because you don't see it there very often. Third and 11, 7-7 game. 3 wide receivers set, 4 this time. Snap is back. Pressure coming. Hilger gets rid of it. Somebody let Gary James go. There was a linebacker, and I'm going to guess either Johnson or Gary Reasons, who missed an assignment. A 22-yard gain. Well, it may have been Adrian White who's getting an earful from Bill Parcells.
This is one of the things Parcells told us about the other day, that they're making mistakes in key areas, giving up big plays. It's simply a mental error by one of the linebackers. It might well be Reasons. He's the guy trying to recover to pick up the receiver. I don't really know if it's Reasons or not, to be honest with you, because it looks like it could have been either Reasons or 52, Pepper Johnson, responsible for that back coming out of there.
6:20 to go, first half, 7-7 ball game. First and 10, Detroit, ball at the 43. Gary James for a couple. This time it's Jim Burt, the veteran nose tackle, number 64, who makes the stop. I am so used to doing this promo, this is going to seem a little strange. Coming up at halftime today, Brent and Dick Butkus. Why don't I say and Herb? Well, they'll have scores and highlights. That's because Herb Cross is joining us here today. Brent will take a look back at the trade that shook the NFL and is now producing bell-ringing dividends for the Rams, if that's any hint.
Well, with Brent and Dick Butkus in the studio, they're going to have scores and highs. Without Herb.
Okay. I like it. Second down and 8. 7-7 game. Collins threatening a blitz from the corner spot. He's not coming. Toss to the weak side. Carl Painter breaks a tackle and struggles to the 49. A flag is down. And we might get another holding call, and this might be on James Jones.
Have an awful lot of penalties, Vern. It's the kind of thing that you hate to see, because it destroys your offensive efforts and takes away the momentum of any kind of a drive you're trying to get started. Listen to the call here.
This time it's going to go against New York. It was not holding. It's a face mask call.
Other way around. Other way around. We had an inordinate number of penalties called in this first half, and sometimes that indicates sloppy play. You're not in position to make blocks, not in position to make tackles, and you're hanging on, and that has to be cleaned up.
Lions, as we said, there's Darryl Rogers talking it over with Dick Handcat. There's Painter. See if we can see the face mask here. Almost hit behind the line. There it is.
Johnny Cooks.
Yep. Now they got a 5 or a 15-yard face mask penalty.
He really didn't really grab the face mask. You know, you see these penalties sometimes, Vern, where the defensive player grabs the face mask and pulls the receiver down. Cooks just glanced the face mask. He pulled his hand off of it as quickly as he could once he realized his hand was up pretty high, and they're trying to determine what kind of penalty to assess.
It is a first down. These are not moments that add to the excitement of a Sunday afternoon in the ballpark.
Can you believe the stadium is sold out? There's not a peep from the fans here.
It really is quiet. I noticed that when they introduced the Giants.
On the defense, number 98, 5-yard penalty. 5 yards made the necessary yardage. First down.
Having done a number of games here, you get used to this Giant crowd really getting revved up for the player intros. And there was what might best be described as polite applause as they came out. Giants, of course, the world champions in '86, had that horrid year last year. They are 9-9 if you throw out the strike game since winning the world championship, and even 500 club. That doesn't induce a lot of cheering. First down, Detroit, 7-7 game. 5:08 to go, first down. Gary James, that's a yard for the 45. Lawrence Taylor made the tackle. James with 37 yards. And Carl Painter comes back in. Lawrence Taylor back in action now for 2 weeks after that 1-month suspension. Here's Gary James out as Carl Painter comes in.
We get so accustomed to saying Lawrence Taylor made great plays, we don't get excited about it anymore. That particular play, he came all the way across the formation from the backside of the play and ran the back down before he could get to the line of scrimmage. I mean, he must have run 10 yards and made the play behind the line. It's incredible.
All of which leads Detroit to 2nd and 9. Hilger, 5 of 8 for 78 yards and a touchdown. And again, same set, Manley in motion. Taylor coming. Hilger gets rid of it to the 40-yard line. It'll be third down. Terry Kennard makes the tackle. Manley, the receiver.
You wonder why Lawrence Taylor is such a force for your defensive football team. He doesn't get to the quarterback here, but applying pressure on the blitz, puts his hand up in Hilger's face, forcing him to get rid of the ball quickly. Of course, making the tackle, too.
Rusty Hilger was not looking forward to seeing Lawrence Taylor.
No. He says, you want to know where he is all the time.
First thing you do when you come out of the huddle is check where 56 is. 3rd and 4. Lions have not been a good third down conversion team, but today they are 4 of 6. And the touchdown came on a 3rd and 10. Ball at the 40 in a 7-7 ball game. Low snap, and they'll be forced to punt. Mott again having trouble with the shotgun snap. He dribbled one back 2 weeks ago, and that'll increase the ire of Darryl Rogers.
Darryl Rogers handles it pretty well, though. He has a good sense of humor about his bad snaps and all. I think for Steve Mott is an excellent center on the snaps for the shotgun. He rolled that one back there, and he's done it before.
Here's Jim Arnold. Nice and high. And nobody back, and it takes a Lion bounce. And will be down inside the 5 at the 3-yard line. Benny Blades was down there to get it. Steve Mott in anguish as he tells Darryl Rogers what happened. And you can see Rogers hold his arms up in exasperation.
I wonder what he told him what happened. Slipped out of my hand? I don't know. He's talking to him about it now.
That's a 36-yard punt. Next week, most of you around the country will see the Cowboys against the Eagles from Vet Stadium in Philadelphia. Others will watch the Giants in Atlanta. Minnesota goes back to Tampa Bay for the rematch, and Detroit will be at Kansas City. All of that begins with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time next Sunday on CBS. 2:55 to go in the first half of play.
Please return the 30-second clock to 27 seconds.
Rogers and is that Motti still talking to? They'll put the clock back at 30 seconds. Now he's talking to Gary James. Darryl Rogers, I guess you could call him beleaguered. There's been so much speculation about his status. Russ Thomas and William Clay Ford say they will not make a change, if they make a change, until after the season. But he believes in what he's doing, and a lot of his players do as well. 1st and 10, Giants. Quick pass, right flat. Stephen Baker knocked out of bounds at the 18. Knocked there by Bruce McNorton. Mark Ingram, who is the starter, is on injured reserve. He was injured in making a fine catch against the Rams, broke a collarbone.
Great catch. And when he made the catch, he extended himself, hit the ground, and everybody was yelling at him, get up, get up. And of course, he didn't realize at the time he'd broken his collarbone, and he's sorely missed you.
2:51 to go before halftime. 2nd down and 1. Otis Anderson again in on running play. And that'll be close for the first down at the 18 as the clock continues to unravel.
I think what we're seeing, Vern, is a young Detroit defense that people in New York and many parts of the country really aren't very familiar with, handling a veteran offensive football team. These players have not quite established themselves as a force in the National Football League in terms of reputation. But the Detroit defense, take my word for it, is legitimate championship-type defense. They're young, they're aggressive, they play good, sound, hard-nosed football.
3rd and a foot. Mowat starts in motion. They hand it off to Otis Anderson, who's got the first down at the 21-yard line. And that'll be the final play before the 2-minute warning. Benny Blades makes the tackle. We are seeing much more of Otis Anderson than we anticipated, but Joe Morris is not injured. 2-minute warning, score tied, 7-7. Rusty Hilger, 10 days in uniform for the Lions, 2nd game in which he's played. First start, very casually sitting and talking it over with Steve Mott. He's had a good game so far.
I've never seen a new player come to a club who's so optimistic. He said, you know, Irv and Vern, all this team needs is somebody to lead them. They're waiting for somebody to pull them out of their dilemma. He said, I think I'm the guy. He didn't say that, but he sort of implied that I think I'm the guy to do it.
I certainly got that message.
Yeah.
He came out here about 2 hours earlier than the team did this morning so he could take a look at the television truck. Wanted to find out how the replays work. He wanted to know the eternal question, the answer to which, what is a chyron?
Oh, boy.
So he took a look at our graphics room. First and 10. And 3 wide receivers in for the Giants. Shotgun. Sims back. Dropped by George Adams. And George Jamison had fallen down, so Adams would have had the room to run for a sizable gain. Second and 10, 7-7 ball game. Bill Sims hit his first 6 passes. He's now 10 of 14 for 98 yards. Elsewhere around the league, New England with a big lead over Cincinnati. Indianapolis and Tampa Bay, and Green Bay continues to lead. Chicago's Kevin Butler got a field goal in that game. No blitz. Sims in trouble. Fumble. Ball was sitting there for about 3 seconds. And who got it? Benny Blade says Lions. Lions got it. Billy Ard had it. The ball was just sitting there. There's Curtis Green, and there is Michael Kofer who comes up with it. The ball just sat there.
Great rush by the Lions. You can see they're coming in here, the front 3. And number 77, Keith Ferguson, makes the hit, forces the fumble. Now, they're not quite sure where the ball is here right now until finally it's picked up by the Lions. Ard had a shot at it, couldn't hang on. The Lions come up with a big turnover.
Second turnover. There's Keith Ferguson who got the sack. And there's Michael Kofer who got the fumble recovery.
Michael Kofer, affectionately called Robo-Lion. This guy plays so hard that by the 4th quarter he's totally exhausted.
Dick Hantak asking that the scoreboard clock be changed.
Dick Modzelewski talking to Kofer, and people who are Giant fans remember Little Mo when he played for great Giant teams in the 50s and 60s as a defensive lineman here, and came in for the first year this year at Detroit to take over that defensive line, and he's done a tremendous job with him.
They wanted the 45-second clock reset, and it's now showing 15 seconds, and Phil Sims talking it over. Now the Lions with a first down at the 13 are going to have to hurry. They've got 9 seconds. Now 8. Scott Williams has come in. Gary Lee is wide to the left. Williams is the motion man. Quick toss, reverse. They can put that one back in the vault. Lawrence Taylor made the tackle.
Vern, it's very difficult to run reverses on great defensive teams because the first thing you do is maintain your primary responsibility. And if I'm an outside linebacker or a defensive end and the player goes away, my first thought is to check at home and make sure a reverse doesn't come back. You're not going to fool a veteran defense like the Giants with a reverse.
Lions, keep in mind, used 2 of their 3 timeouts earlier in the half. They have 1 left, and they have a second down now and 12 with 1:12 to go in the half. 7-7 ball game. Audible by Rusty Hilger, and the blitz threatened by New York. They're coming. He reads the hot receiver Manley, and Mark Collins with terrific coverage. Manley, the hot man on the blitz. And Collins right with him.
You have to love Rusty Hilger's attitude. He wants to force something. He wants to score. It comes to that old Raider tradition. Let's go for it. Here he puts the ball up. Pete Manley's covered. Can't make the catch because the defensive back, Collins, has great inside position on him. But as far as Rusty Hilger will give it every shot he possibly can. And Lawrence Taylor does his job once again with the pressure. Hey, Rusty, I'm still here.
Tony Page comes into the backfield now. It's going to be 3rd and 12 from the 15, 59 seconds to go. No blitz look this time from New York. They are coming, however. Hilger had to hurry, and he throws it in front of Pete Manley, who was open in the post pattern. Mark Collins defending.
Next week, they'll complete that pass, Vern. It's a timing pattern. It's sort of an audible. Most teams have in the National Football League. When you see a blitz coming, run a quick slant or a quick post inside, it's really an automatic maneuver. Rusty Hilger simply wasn't timed up properly with Pete Manley. He was wide open, should have had a touchdown.
Ed Murray, who has been perfect this year, 5 of 5. And he'll try and break the tie from 33 yards out. Murray, the 9-year veteran from Tulane. A 32-yarder officially. Out of Jim Arnold's hold. It's good. So the Lions convert the fumble recovery from Phil Sims into a field goal. Lions have 2 turnovers in the game, and they have converted both for scores. Early on, Bruce McNorton picked up a Bavaro fumble, returned it 35 yards, and that set up a touchdown pass. And now Phil Simms' fumble at the 12-yard line results in a 32-yard field goal by Ed Murray. It's a 10-7 Detroit lead.
That's why all coaches in the National Football League say if you're going to win championships, you win with defense. You know, offense scores points and sells tickets for you, but defense wins championships. You can force turnovers if you set up scoring opportunities for your ball club, and you can always keep your team in the game if you have a great defense.
4 plays for -2 yards and 57 seconds, and of course, you get the field goal.
Can you believe that?
No. Try the reverse for -2, 2 incomplete passes, kicking. Taken by Kenny Hill. Watch out! Flag is down. They're going to bring it back. He got it out to the 43-yard line. Carl Painter made the tackle. Holding New York. So wipe out the 20-yard return by Kenny Hill. And penalize the Giants.
Holding on the return, number 72, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's Doug Riesenberg who was guilty of the hold.
Vern, do you believe in the Monday night jinx?
I'm almost beginning to.
Giants played Monday night, had a short work week, and today seemed a little flat.
They do seem flat. So often you see it, though. You're at home against a 1-5 team. You're a 2-touchdown favorite. Now they've got 46 seconds to go. All 3 of their timeouts left. Across the middle, they'll try and peck and hunt here a little bit. The crowd doesn't like that. Bavaro makes the catch. This is an antsy bunch here. 32 seconds to go. Draw play on 2nd and 5 with a half to go, 30 seconds to go, and 3 timeouts left. Well, the talk shows and the radio in New York are going to have fun tonight.
I think so, Grant. I think I'd make an attempt to at least stop the clock to reset your offense and get a score of some kind, but the Giants like it to simply run it out.
We're going to hear a chorus of boos for the Giants and Bill Parcells. That's the end of the first half with the score 10-7 Detroit. Go for it, Nate.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? The good time, great taste of McDonald's. And by Apple Computer, maker of Macintosh personal computers, giving you the power to be your best. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda, maker of the CRX-SI 1988 Motor Trend Import Car of the Year. UPS, we deliver to every address in the U.S. and to 41 countries worldwide. And by Liberty Mutual, for your personal insurance, business insurance, and financial service needs.
It's a somewhat disgruntled sellout crowd at Giants Stadium as they have watched their heavily favored hometown team trail the Detroit Lions 10-7 at halftime as we get set for quarter number 3. Vern Lundquist along with Irv Cross. Irv, the Lions' philosophy has been through Darryl Rogers and Wayne Fontes, keep it close defensively, and you've got a chance to win in the fourth quarter. They played that very well in the first half.
Of course, the turnover story is something that their defense has forced. And I think that the Giants have sort of been drawn into a malaise here. Looked at their schedule early in the season and said, gee whiz, this is a soft spot of our schedule. They've got Atlanta, 3 weeks in a row. We've got to breeze through it. I think the fans thought that too. But now they find out the Detroit Lions, even though they're 1-5, are a pretty formidable foe.
2 turnovers so far by Detroit. They have converted both into scores. They went 35 yards with a fumble recovery to set up a 39-yard touchdown pass. And then the fumble right before halftime led to a field goal. 100 yards by the Lions, 128 by the Giants. Quarterback sacks, 1 by Detroit, 3 by the Giants, and time of possession in the favor of Detroit. Now, the one long drive by the Giants, the only offensive spark we've seen. And I'm a little surprised, Herbs, we've seen so much of Otis Anderson instead of Joe Morris.
I think the Giants wanted to throw the ball a little bit more today. They thought they initially wanted to start the running game. They started out that way, but then early on they pulled Morris out and put Anderson in, and they mixed up their offense a little better, both running and passing. Anderson is a much better receiver than Morris, and they'll use him a lot more, I'm sure, in the second half.
Any changes if you're Bill Parcells?
I don't think so. I think I just go back in the locker room and tell my players, hey, listen, we know we have to do this win this football game. We're not doing it. We're not playing giant football on defense. On offense, we have to be smart, take what we can get, don't make any gambles, forget about the turnovers, and get after them.
And for Darryl Rogers, a team that is 1-5, trying to break a 5-game losing streak. And they've got that man, Rusty Hilger, at quarterback, and he's played pretty well.
He's such a positive influence for this football team. He's been through quite a bit in his career. He's a guy who believes in himself, and he has his Lions believing in themselves because he's there.
Hilger 6 of 11 for 83 in the first half. Ed Murray will kick off, and we are underway. Mark Collins waits for it at the 10. Back to the 20, short kick by Murray. Collins free. No flags down, and Collins with good field position out of the 35 near the 36-yard line. That's a gain of 26 on the return. And here comes Phil Simms with modest figures in the first half. He hit 6 passes in a row on the 85-yard touchdown drive, but settles for 11 of 15 for, I say modest, the yardage is modest, 102 yards. From the 36-yard line, first down 10. Joe Morris and Maurice Carthon again will open. And Eric Moore is the right guard, as he has been throughout, because of the back spasm suffered by Damian Johnson. Moore gets a good block, and Morris gets the pass across the middle. That's good out to the 45-yard line before Chris Spielman makes the tackle.
We talked about the Giants trying to establish a running game, and like to do that with Joe Morris. Here they open up with a play-action pass, fake the run, and then throw the ball to Joe Morris.
Lion defense, the kind that can really get you frustrated. You just have to be so patient with them. Second down and 1. Morris knocked down. It'll be 3rd and 2. Eric Williams.
Vern, you have to be patient with the Lion defense, but something has happened to the Lion defense today that hasn't happened all year long. Number 31, Devon Mitchell, is playing free safety for the Lions. He was out with an injury. He was their best defensive back last year, lifted up his knee and had some difficulty playing. They activated him for a week or so ago, and he's playing today for the first time. And the guy with him in the backfield, Coach Bonds told us that they can do anything they want in the secondary. Play man-to-man, play zone, more aggressively than they had in the past.
3rd down up the middle, first down. Maurice Carthon will get a fresh series of downs. Tackle is made by Michael Kofer, number 55. There's Kofer. He is, Bill Parcells says, among the best in the league at linebacker. 5.5 sacks coming in.
Darryl Rogers says he's the best in the league. They think a lot of him because he gives you every ounce of energy during the course of the ball game. At the 4th quarter, he's totally exhausted.
1st and 10, New York. Play fake on first down. Simms dropped, knocked away. Bruce McNorton and Devon Mitchell collaborating defensively. And McNorton, who had a fumble recovery in the first half, knocks it away from Stephen Baker.
This is the thing I was talking about in terms of what they can do in their secondary. They can mix things up a little bit. Michael Kofer, the linebacker, number 55, drops back to the outside area there in the zone, in the flat initially. Then comes back in his hook. Because he gets a call from his deep back, number 29, Bruce McMorton, who tells him in, and he adjusts to that call, and they team up to break up that play.
2nd down and 10. Play fake again. Rush coming. Simms steps up and goes deep. Stephen Baker. Caught. Touchdown. This time he burned Bruce McNorton. 51 yards. Giants on top.
This is something the Giants didn't know they could do. They didn't know if they could go deep on this Lion defense because they play so soft back there in a deep secondary. Simms stepping up in the pocket buys enough time to find Bruce McNorton running a deep post pattern. Stephen Baker running a deep post pattern on Bruce McNorton for the touchdown. McNorton's wondering where he came from.
Raul Alegre will try and increase the Giants' lead. It's done. 51 yards. Baker on the receiving end of a touchdown pass from this man, Bill Sims. With the exception of one 85-yard drive in the first half, Bill Parcells' Giants hadn't shown much offensive spark this afternoon, but he got out of them exactly what was needed, and that is a big ignition to start the third quarter, a 51-yard pass to Stephen Baker. Now Raul Alegre will kick it deep for the Lions, who are about to get the ball for the first time in this half. Gary Lee at the 4. He's got some time and some room, and he's out to the 34-yard line. That's a 30-yard return, and Ricky Shaw makes the tackle. Now Darrell Rogers' team up by 3 at the halftime. All of a sudden, in the first 2 minutes, his team down by 4. He needs much the same kind of thing from his offense, doesn't he, Eric?
He needs much the same kind of thing. I think if it happens, he's going to do it through the air, and the guy is going to be his primary weapon on offense. I think it's going to be number 89, Jeff Chadwick. He's out of the game right now, but he's a great wide receiver with tremendous quickness, great hands, and tremendous speed.
Rusty Hilger, the confident one, at quarterback. Backs in the eye. First and 10. Hand off to James Jones. They'll test left guard. And Jones across the 35 near the 37-yard line. Now Jeff Chadwick will bring the play in. There's Wayne Fontes talking to Devon Mitchell on the sideline.
If I were the defensive secondary right now for the Giants, I'd be really conscious of where Chadwick lines up. Number 89, according to Coach Rodgers, has world-class quickness. Now they can measure quickness and change of direction. So coming out of the break, when he runs a pattern, he's faster than any line player, and may well be faster than anybody in the league that we know of.
Second down and 7. Chadwick playing for the first time, just activated off the injured list yesterday. He winds up wide to the left. Second and 7. Manley in motion. Blitz coming. Oh, boy. Eric Dorsey and Gary James.
Vern, little things make the difference in a football game. When you get a play like that from a defensive lineman, it ignites everybody. The entire Giant bench rose to its feet on that play by Dorsey. And it's the kind of a thing that you look for as a coach or as a player. They have somebody get a drive going, get some momentum going, get some excitement going in their ball club. And Eric Dorsey contributed to that play.
Now on 3rd and 12, Lions have the ball. They are 4 of 8 on third down conversions. They're only averaging something like 33% for the year. 4-man rush. Taylor coming from the right side. Hilger buys time. Taylor gets him in the grasp. It'll be 4th down. Hilger could only buy about a quarter's worth of time before Taylor made a sack, his second of the game.
This reminds me, Vern, of a heavyweight fight where the fighters go in and kind of spar with each other for 2 or 3 rounds, and once they find out the soft spots, they go to work. Hilger going back in the pocket to throw a pass, finds himself smothered by Lawrence Taylor, who simply beats the defensive tackle, Lomas Brown. Now, Brown's about 275 pounds, and he throws him away like a rag doll.
This punt not that good. Fair catch called by McConkey at the 40-yard line. So the Giants get good field position out of this. A 35-yard effort. Taylor had his second sack of the game. Brown, as Irv said, is no small package. He checks in at 275 pounds. And Lawrence Taylor, from a rush position, just shoved him out of the way with dispatch, like a used hanky. And got to the quarterback. Punt came up. Giants get the ball back, leading 14-10. Sims again will throw on first down. Deep left side, caught in front of McNorton. Stephen Baker, who just burned him for a touchdown on the last series. Stephen Baker, an interesting story out of Fresno State. The Cowboys wanted to draft him in the 3rd round, thought they had made a trade with Denver to jump in front of New York. There was a miscommunication between Tom Landry and Dan Reeves, and while that was going on, the Giants traded him, or rather drafted him in front of Kelvin Martin. Maurice Carthen gets the carry. But they wanted Baker in a big way. Here's Maurice Carthen for a couple of yards.
big game player. You know, he's got a lot of speed and great quickness. You see the game changing somewhat. The Giants opened the ball game thinking they could run on first down. They wanted to establish that. Now they're throwing passes, play action passes on first down because the corners and the Lions are coming up playing run tough and just sort of putting the ball behind them.
Second down and 5 from the 43. Blitz coming. Sims back. Here comes Cofer across the middle. Caught Navarro. First down at the 26. 16-yard gain.
Michael Cofer is responsible for Mark Bavaro. Because Cofer coming in on the blitz. Bavaro running a drag out or a crossing pattern here. Beats the defensive back.
That was Benny Blades. And to first down after the 16-yard gain. Officially the ball mark at the 26. Again on first down, back to throw. Sims, deep left side, flag down. Incomplete pass. It was not a flag. I beg your pardon. He threw his hat to indicate that the player had run off the field to play and then come back on. It was Joe Morris, the intended receiver, with Gibson deep. In the meantime, watch Michael Cofer again.
Again, you wonder why there's so much damage done to quarterbacks. Michael Cofer, number 55, coming on a blitz. This time, it's handled nicely by William Roberts.
William Roberts, who's been a little inconsistent this season at that left tackle spot. 2nd and 10. How about this Giant game plan, throwing so much on first down?
It's a change.
Blitz again. Here comes Cofer again. Screen pass left. Morris. Chase gets by Gibson. Then is knocked out of bounds short of the first down at the 19-yard line. Chris Spielman got up with him.
Vern, the reason why you're seeing Cofer so much on the line defense is that the defensive staff in Detroit feels that they don't get real good pass pressure with their front three. In order to get a good pass rush, they have to send Michael Cofer in there. So he comes in a lot. It's really like a 4-man pass rush. 3 down linemen going, and Cofer, the 4th man, coming in to put pressure on the quarterback.
We have talked a lot about this line defense, but the one soft spot is the absence of a pass rusher in the front line. 3rd and short, Carthen. I don't think that's enough. That should be 4th down. And Sims looks over at Bill Parcells, said, "We need a foot, let's go for it." How much, Bill says. It'll be 4th. And decision. Somebody at the other end of that headset just got an earful. They'll go for it.
You wonder if the play was sent down from upstairs or sent upstairs from down the sideline.
4th and less than a yard. A 14-10 game with 9:15 to go, 3rd quarter. Doug Riesenberg has reported as an eligible receiver. He lines up to the left side. And John Elliott has also come in. 4th and 1. Anderson got it. Bobby Watkins made the tackle.
Again, Vern, the little things are the difference between success and failure in the National Football League. This play is designed to go off tackle. Nothing there. Otis Anderson, using his great instincts to the running back, slips outside and simply manhandles the secondary until 3 people bring him down.
1st and 10 at the 11, a 14-10 game with 8:20 remaining, 3rd quarter. See if he throws on first down again. Nope, not this time. And Carthen is knocked down as he gets inside the 10 of the 9. Now Riesenberg comes back in, having sat out one play. Interesting, Phil Simms said Lawrence Taylor came up to him and to Parcells in training camp and said, "Doug Riesenberg is the best pass blocker we've got on the offensive line. Let's get him in there and play him." And Parcells made the move a couple of games ago and is now a starter at right tackle. 2nd down and 8. 2-step drop. Drills it. Incomplete for Baker. They're working on McNorton. Bruce has played pretty well this year, and that has not always been the case. His first name for a while in Detroit was much maligned.
Anybody who plays cornerback in the National Football League is going to be maligned on occasion. I was there 9 years, Vern. I'm telling you,
You
it
speak
happens
from
to the
experience.
best. That's right. It happens to the best.
3rd and 8. 3 wide receiver set. Eric Williams hurries on defensively now for Detroit. 1 wide receiver wide left. That was shotgun. The other 2 are wide right. Navarro on the slide. Navarro, Sims, nobody there. Sacked. And in the grasp. As Curtis Green got to it. He was looking first for Bavaro, and then he looked right, and that'll bring the field goal unit on. 2nd sack today.
The heads-up play by Sims, though, Vern. He didn't give the ball away. He didn't want to force anything to cause a possible turnover, but still keep his team in good position to come up with something. In this case, they have a shot at 3 points.
Raul Alegre 4 of 5 from inside the 30 and 39. This will be a 33-yard effort, and Jeff Hofstetler will hold. It's good. It's been an all-New York second half thus far. 7:10 to go, 3rd quarter. The Giants are up by 7. 7:10 to go, 3rd quarter. Phil Sims, the author of a 51-yard pass in the first series of this half of play. And then the field goal by Alegre. It's a 17-10 Giant lead. Carl Painter at the goal line. Kenny Hill wraps him up at the 18. Good downfield coverage by the Giants. Rusty Hilger in his first start for the Detroit Lions. And it has not been an easy afternoon for Rusty Hilger today. 4 sacks thus far. He's had to hurry at 6 times. Has had 3 knocked down, 1 batted. No interceptions so far, though.
That's the big stat. He hasn't given the ball away.
Had a fumble, but no pass interceptions. Manley comes wide to the left. 17-10. Hilger, modest figure, 6 of 11 for 83. And a touchdown to Gary James at 39 yards. Gary James out to the 33. Eric Dorsey, number 77, makes the tackle. It was 3 weeks ago that William Clay Ford, the owner of the Lions, said his team's offense was dull and predictable. And several of the players and the coaches agreed. Said we are. But Darryl Rogers said we have to be. We don't have the big play people right now, and we need to play it conservative to have a chance to win in the 4th quarter.
I like Rogers' reaction. Asking him last night about his ball club. He says, when you have great personnel, suddenly you become exciting.
2nd down and 8. Number 21. Manley in motion, followed by Perry Williams. Play fake. Hilger pumps. Intercepted. Picked off by Mark Collins. No. Hit the ground. I thought he had it.
The only one who knows right now is Mark Collins, and he's acting like he thought he had it too. Maybe we can take a look at it. See if the ball bounces off the turf or not. Collins from his corner position. Bangs the wide receiver here, Gary Lee, has good position on him. He can't see the ball now. Lee looks at the ball. Collins turns back. Does it hit the ground? Looks like a catch. Maybe it can't. I don't know.
He might not have had control when it hit the ground. Mark Collins has played so well this year, but he has been burned twice for huge plays. And one cost him the ball game against the Giants here when Jerry Rice beat him, and last week he was Chris Carter. Other than those 2 big plays, he's played exceptionally well. Hilger going deep. Chadwick, and he was open.
Chadwick's the man who's going to, I think, be the big play receiver for the Lions today if he can get on track. Now, he's had some problem with his Achilles tendon on his right foot. He's as quick as a cat. This pattern, he runs it, comes upfield again against Collins, breaks to the outside, and fades a little bit to the inside, then bends out to the sidelines, a little high, just out of his grasp.
That'll bring on a 4th down, and again, field position for the Giants, barring the unexpected. Jim Arnold will punt for the 5th time. Not a good one. McConkey at the 47. Fumble, he was down. A 32-yard punt by Jim Arnold. 4 on the return. There is no fumble. And the Giants have it 49 yards away from the end zone. Lawrence Taylor on the Giant bench favoring a right shoulder. And when he came off the field moments ago, here's what happened on the bench.
The team doctor taking a look, checking his arms and shoulders and trying to find out what his problem is. We still don't know at this point. Hopefully he'll be back.
1st and 10, New York. 17-10. They lead it. 5:50 to go, third quarter. And again, the pass on first down. Sims across the middle, wide open, Stephen Baker. Baker has become a force in the second half. And that's a first down at the 29-yard line for the 5'8", 160-pounder, a 21-yard gain.
It's really an exciting game plan. The Lions are playing a double zone on first down with both cornerbacks rolling up in the wide receivers. Now, Sims sees that. The linebackers go deep into the hook area, but there's a vacuum between the linebackers and the deep backs in the secondary, and he's simply dropping passes, intermediate passes, 15, 20 yards deep into Stephen Baker. He's going to be open all day with that type of defense.
Another 1st and 10 for New York. Two-step drop, left side, incomplete for Baker. Word from the Giant bench is that Lawrence Taylor has a pinched nerve, but he is expected to return to the ball game.
You ever have a pinched nerve, Vern?
Never have.
Stings. It stings. I've had a couple of them in the shoulders. It happens quite often with linebackers and defensive backs because you're hitting with your shoulders all the time, and you get a little sting and the stinging sensation. The arm may go numb for a second or two, and things are fine. All the feeling comes back.
2nd and 10, 5:07 to go, third quarter. Manuel in motion. Again, the blitz this time from George Jameson, and in the grasp as Dan Salamua got there. The backup nose tackle playing in place of Jerry Ball. And Salamua has had a tremendous rush that time. Jameson was blitzing to help him out.
I really like this call. Some fans will say, gee whiz, you should have let Sims stand in there and throw the ball, but we're trying to protect, the league is trying to protect the quarterbacks as much as possible. Salamua, on a nice bull charge coming up the middle there, breaks down the offensive line. Now, Sims is definitely in the grasp. At that point, when he had his shoulder, blow the whistle, stop play, line up and do it over again.
You don't think they call that whistle a little quick at times?
Well, sometimes, sure.
3rd and 22. Prevent defense. Sims fires short for Bavaro. Benny Blades hauls him out of bounds. And then Blades takes a right hand at Bavaro.
I knew it was going to happen sometime during the course of today's ball game. Benny Blades, all night last night, had Mark Bavaro on his mind. Again, it goes way back in their college days when he was at Miami and Bavaro was at Notre Dame. Blades, a freshman at Miami, went to South Bend. And, of course, Notre Dame, I guess, I don't know if they beat him that year or not, but Blades says, I can hardly wait to get after this guy. I want Bavaro.
Benny Blades said this will be the biggest test he's had as a pro, and he did not play well last week. He admitted that. And he said, now I go against Bavaro and Blades and Mowat, and they're the best combo in the league. Here's Allegre out of Jim Arnold's hole. This will be a 48-yard field goal on 4th down. That's got more than enough. Oh, that could have been good for 58. Allegre drilled it. Helium in the ball.
This is a tough stadium to kick in because you have wind swirling around here all the time. But the second he hit it, he knew it was good. Let's go to the sideline. We had 3 more points, guys.
That increases the lead to 20-10. Coming up next is game 2 of the NFL doubleheader on CBS. Except for those of you in the New York metropolitan area, many of you will see the 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams. Others will watch New Orleans, Seattle, and still others of you will see Atlanta against Denver. That's coming up next on CBS. And next week, most of you will watch the Cowboys against Philadelphia, both losing early today. The Giants go down to Atlanta. Minnesota's at Tampa Bay and Detroit at Kansas City. That begins with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time next week. Also, some of you will watch Washington at Green Bay at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And how about Green Bay this afternoon? How about Washington this afternoon? Mark Whipple has 4 touchdowns. Carl Painter will touch it back. And Dan Salamua just threw a punch. Threw it right at Adrian White, and the official was looking right at him when he threw it. I mean, a perfect left lead.
Wonder how much power he had behind that punch.
celebrated the sack, one play too many.
Well, the Timbers are beginning to flare. It's kind of a frustrating season for the Lions right now. They're playing well enough defensively to have a winning record, but they're 1-5 right now. They've lost their 2 top quarterbacks, so their offense is sort of struggling. They can't get their running game going, and they desperately want to win, even though the players have an upbeat, optimistic
Personal
attitude.
foul. Detroit, number 97, penalized half the distance. First down.
They have a great deal of pride. They really feel they should be on the winning side of the ledger, and they want to win in the worst way, Vern.
Hasn't gone well for him in the third quarter, and Salamua responds to the chance. Whoa, careful with that left hand.
Yeah.
Keep all of those fingers up in the air.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Half the distance. First down at the 10. Rodgers wants to talk to him. First down and 10, Detroit, 20-10 ball game. 4:26 to go, third quarter. Well, Salamua got the crowd into it. Hilger on first down. Dropped by Gary Lee.
Vern, I don't think I've seen this ever in the National Football League with a coach ripping a player like this in the side. Rodgers is really visibly upset with the penalty against Salamua. I'm not quite sure what happened. He's trying to get an explanation from Salamua, and he's not happy with it at all. Here he's trying to get his attention to try to find out what happened on the penalty. And apparently whatever Salamua said wasn't satisfactory to Coach Rodgers.
And you only have to be a modest lip reader to understand the first word out of his mouth.
Yep, he's upset.
Salamua may not play again today. Second down and 10. I think it was what happened when he responded to the crowd as much as the left hand he threw at Adrian White. Hilger back being chased. Has to get rid of it. Intentional grounding. Now, was he an intentional grounding in the end zone? Or was he at the 1? Because if it's in the end zone, it's a safety.
He's very close, Vern. Again, just for our viewers, the ruling simply is that the quarterback throws the ball away while he's under pressure. If he throws the ball away to avoid a rush, it's intentional grounding. And apparently the referee ruled that was the case. Now the question now is, where did he throw it away? Was he in the end zone or in the field of play?
Not in the end zone. Down at the 1.
Rusty Hilger feeling immediate pressure from Lawrence Taylor, obviously out inside from number 53, Harry Carson.
Number 12 on the offense. Loss of down. Spot of the foul. Third down.
Had to get rid of it, and it cost him.
They have to get out to the 20.
Vern,
you shouldn't like their odds.
Yes, I'm sorry, but there are 2 spots in the field where it's very difficult to move the ball. The defense loves to have a team backed up inside their 5-yard line coming out, and also, of course, going in to the 5-yard line. Going in is very difficult. It's a tough territory because the defense can play extremely aggressively here.
And the first thing Hilger will do is find out where 56 is. And Lawrence Taylor is lined up right on the line. Now he comes back to the right. Good protection. Hilger gets rid of it, and James drops it. Fourth down.
This is going to be a very difficult punt. The ball is standing inside the 1-yard line. The punter, when he goes on the field, will be on the baseline of the end zone, which is only 10 yards back. So he'll be back about 10.5 yards. He'll have to take a short step and kick it right away. And when he does, he'll be about 6 yards from the line of scrimmage. The Giants have a chance for a block.
Arnold gets rid of it. McConkey at the 36. Down at the 26. Flag is down as well. A 35-yard punt, 5 on the return. I'm surprised that Dan Salamua is back on the punt return team, but he was out there, or the kicking team, punt coverage team.
Illegal block in the back. On the return, number 88, 10-yard penalty. It will still be first down.
That's a penalty on the third tight end, Brad Beckman, for the Giants. There's Salamua. He got an earful from his head coach, Darryl Rodgers, and he will stay in at nose guard. replacing Jerry Ball. I don't think that's an injury replacement. Mark Rippon, 4 touchdowns today. 30-10 Redskins. Reggie Cunningham, Randall Cunningham, has been sacked 7 times in that game for the Eagles. Here it's a 20-10 ball game, 4:06 to go. Third pitch. They toss it back to Sims. He goes deep left side for Manuel. First and goal, New York. Gain of 30. Another pass on first down, this time with a twist.
A short version of a flea flicker. They had everything in there. It looked like the ball was going to be run one direction. Sims hands the ball off Joe Morris. Morris then flips the ball back to Sims, and he picks up Lionel Manuel running a deep crossing pattern. Now, when a play like that really confuses the secondary. Which way is he going? Left to right or right to left? He was going right to left. Defense is going left to right. Completed pass.
Manuel starts in motion on first and goal. Again, they throw on first down. Sims. Tackle is made by McNorton, but the catch is made as well by Joe Morris. I'm really in admiration, Herb, of the Giants' game plan, throwing on first down almost exclusively in this half.
Fans and other observers are oftentimes critical of how coaches plan for the course of the game, but this Giant coaching staff showed the ability to adjust quickly to what they saw. They weren't quite sure what they expected out of Detroit, but they saw something that they didn't expect, adjusted to it, changed their game plan on the move, and they've moved the ball ever since.
Play fake, Sims lets it go, tipped and incomplete. Third and goal from the 3.
Conversely, Vern, the defensive staff for the Lions told us we have 2 game plans going into this game. We're not quite sure how we're going to approach it until we see what the Giants are going to do. So they played a little cat and mouse game until they found out what was going on, and then they made adjustments. But it seems like the Giant staff has been able to take advantage of these adjustments.
They have gone at Bruce McNorton 8 times, Jerry Holmes only twice. McNorton with 5 tackles. He was burned for the big touchdown, Stephen Baker. Now third and goal from the 3. 2. It'll be another field goal. This time it's Dan Salamua, the angry one, who made the stop. Jerry Ball was also in there on that play on the goal line defensive unit.
When you generate your energy in that direction, every coach likes it. You know, you can be excitable and you can play enthusiastic football, but you also want to play smart football. You get a little hot-tempered out there and you have penalties against your own team. It doesn't help anybody. But Salamua at that time made an excellent play.
Allegre 2 for 2 so far. 25-yard field goal for Raul Allegre. Perfect. It's been all New York. They trail 10-7 at the half. And they're up 23-10 right now. Coming up next Saturday, the America's Cadillac Polo Championship, 1:30 Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. Since 1932, the Americans defeated the South Americans in polo. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that, but I love watching polo. And I ride horses a little bit, but competing in polo, it takes quite a bit of skill. You know, knocking that ball around.
As I said, the Argentines have won every game since 32. Well, they're playing again. And we'll have it for you next Saturday on CBS. 23-10. Touchdown, 3 field goals. Allegre in this quarter of play. 2:26, and field position has played such an important part of it. On first down, Phil Simms has thrown 6 times in this half. Darrell Rogers, his team trailing by 13. And another touchback. Lions are at Kansas City next week, and then they host the Giants. Of course, these 2 teams are playing the 5th place schedule. New York finishing 5th in the NFC East last year, and the Lions finishing 5th in the NFC Central, so they play each other twice. Elsewhere around the league, the Raiders leading Kansas City in the 3rd quarter, and how about Indianapolis over Tampa Bay 35-10? Green Bay still leads. And as we told you, Steve Pelor out of that game, Danny White, the quarterback. Hilger has missed his last 7 passes in a row. First and 10, 23-10 to score. Here comes Taylor. Hilger lets it go, incomplete. And John Washington was right in Hilger's face that time. Washington on in place of Leonard Marshall. In this half, Hilger 0 of 6. Sims 9 of 14 for 161.
Hilger's been under a great deal of pressure, though. The Giants are blitzing in almost every play. And, of course, on the other hand, Sims has been throwing the ball on first down when the Lions expected him to run it, and taking play-action passes, holding those linebackers, and throwing short to intermediate passes behind them. Been very successful.
Rusty Hilger now 6 of 17 in the ball game. It's 2nd and 10. Overthrown, incomplete for Chadwick. 3rd and 10. Here comes you talk about whole-scale changes. The Giants are sending 2, 4, 6 players on for 3rd and 10. This is called situational substitution or mass confusion.
Well, it's their nickel defense. They'll have 5 defensive backs on the field anticipating some kind of a pass route. And they'll lock into those receivers and take them one-on-one probably, because they could zone it too. But this is their strongest pass defense in the field now.
4 of 11. They've missed their last 3, missed their last 5 third down plays. And they've got a 3rd and 10 from the 20. Blitz. Lawrence Taylor collapsed Lomas Brown again. That's 3 for Taylor in the ball game.
Vern, you can have any kind of a rule you want, but when you have a guy like Lawrence Taylor with his kind of speed and strength going against an offensive lineman who's standing stationary when the ball is snapped, you can't block him. Lomas Brown is in pretty good position for the first step. After that, Lawrence Taylor simply runs past him.
Jim Arnold sends it high and deep, and McConkey with a fair catch at the last minute. The flag comes down at the 50-yard line. The catch made at the 41. Lawrence Taylor, pinched nerve and all. Now here's Dick Hamtack.
There's no foul on the play. No foul. First down, New York.
Well, we said at the outset of the ball game, the Giants defense ranked last in the league, needed a big game from men like LT, and he's had 3 today. Still getting some coaching. First down 10, 23-10, 1:51 to go, 3rd quarter. Sims has thrown 6 times on first down in this half. This time he'll give it off to Joe Morris. And Morris out to the 46-yard line. Jerry Ball with a tackle. Bill Parcells looked at the schedule: Detroit, Atlanta, then at Detroit, and the Dallas Cowboys coming up. And he said, if we can win 4, and we can win 4 in a row, we can be a real force in this division race before it's all over. Because the schedule only gets softer as you get down to the end of the year. Sims in the grasp again. This time it was Eric Williams and Keith Ferguson who got there.
Good inside pressure for the defensive linemen there. The Lions all day long. Again, they don't have the guys, the speed guys up front to put pressure on the quarterback, but these are bull-type charges. Ferguson and Eric Williams just simply taking their linemen and manhandling them, forcing them straight back into Sims' face, coming up with a sack.
Eric Williams invited Rusty Hilger to move in with him as a roommate when Hilger came to New York. That has got to be a bachelor pad and a half. Came to Detroit, rather. Here's Phil Sims, 3rd down. And 11. Right side, open. In front of Bobby Watkins. Lionel Manuel, first down. Gain of 13.
A tough throw made to look easy because Sims has such velocity on his pass. Lionel Manuel running a deep out pattern. This ball must go about 30 yards in the air. But watch the way Sims delivers it. Manuel running a sideline pattern, coming across the middle of the sideline pattern, goes to the sideline, and the ball is zipped out there on the line. Watkins didn't have a chance.
Well, they might be checking that on the replay.
Did he have both feet in or not?
I thought he did. I don't know that that's the case here. Let's see.
Please reset the 30-second clock at 23 seconds. 23.
No replay at all. Didn't seem to be much question that he was in. Fun, Herb, talking with Phil Simms yesterday about the changes that he's gone through as the quarterback here. And he said one of the things he had to learn was to adjust how he threw the ball because of the windy conditions here. He had to learn to put a tighter spiral on it, and he's worked with his grip over the years because he said Giant Stadium is the windiest place in the league. Joe Morris down to the 42. Chris Spielman with a tackle, and we'll go back to our New York studios for an update with Brent Musburger.
It looks like the Bears are going to pick up another game on the Vikings. The Packers continuing to dominate Minnesota. Here's a safety. Short time ago, they added a field goal. It's now 24-7, and the Bears still shutting out Dallas. Hey, Herb, don't get too comfortable over there. We need you back next week. Back to Vern.
Hey, Brett, the hot dogs are pretty good at halftime.
Across the middle, caught. Mark Bavaro. At the 25, that's a gain of 16. And that's also the end of the third quarter with our score. The Giants 23 and the Lions 10. We now pause for a word from your local station. Run.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered draft beer, it's as real as it gets. Miller Brewing is the exclusive beer sponsor of today's telecast. The U.S. Army, where you get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by Toyota, there's quality. Who could ask for anything more?
We begin the final 15 at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford. Giants up 23-10, and they've got a first down. Hand it off to Joe Morris. Still searching for enough yardage to become the all-time leader among Giant rushers. Tom Struthers, who was just signed a couple of weeks ago, makes the tackle for Detroit. Morris with 21 yards on 10 carries. He needed 59 coming in. To give you an idea of how much this has been a New York second half, 187 yards to the Giants in the third quarter, minus 19 for Detroit. And they overcame a 10-7 deficit. They lead 23-10. Blitz, Carthen to the 20-yard line. Of course, the one thing they haven't done, Irv, is get touchdowns.
The Lions hope to get back in the game, Bernie. They have to take the ball away. As simple as that. They can't afford to let the Giants sit on the ball and run out these long drives, eating up the clock. And Darryl Rodgers is well aware of that. He has a defense capable of taking the ball away, and he only hopes they can come up with a big play. They had a couple turnovers in the first half, but this second half has been unbelievable. I wonder what Coach Parcells said to those Giants at halftime. I mean, golly, what a complete turnaround.
Bottle it and sell it. 3rd and 4. As Parcells looks on. Shotgun formation for Phil Simms. Giants are 7 of 12 on third down conversion. Simms changes the play. Giants adjust. And it was not the 45-second clock. It showed 2 seconds when the snap was made.
False start. Offense. Number 60. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
That's Eric Moore, who has played the duration of the game for Damian Johnson at right guard. Number 1 draft choice out of Indiana. And that makes it a 3rd down and 9. And Bill continues his casual conversation with the coach's booth upstairs.
Wouldn't you love to have a wire into that conversation?
I don't know how much of it we could put on the air. 3rd and 9. 23-10. Giants up. Trying to go 4-3. They have not won 2 games in a row this year, nor have they lost 2 in a row. Here's Cofer. That is a fumble. And who got it? The Giants recover as Mike Cofer got to Phil Simms, and Simms is very slow getting up. The knee injury in the Monday night game, and this time he really took a shot from Michael Cofer.
This is the man they were most concerned about. Michael Cofer is rapidly beginning to have the reputation of being a Lawrence Taylor type linebacker. He has tremendous speed and great acceleration. And with this hit, you can see what he does to Phil Simms. Simply beating the tackle there. Doug Riesenberg, we can't handle him, comes around the horn, and Phil didn't see them because he concentrates so hard upfield to the sack.
That takes the Giants out of field goal range, and Maury Buford is on the punt to Pete Manley, who waits at the 10 in case it doesn't go out of bounds or into the end zone. He'll come to the near corner. Manley lets it bounce, and it takes the Giants off out of bounds at the 9-yard line. This is a Lion offense not designed for 91-yard drives, but that's what they've got to accomplish. Thus far in the ball game, Phil Simms 22 of 31 for 2 touchdowns and nearly 300 yards. The Lions 10 points came on first half turnovers, and the Giant defense 28th in the league coming in has held Detroit to minus 19 yards in the half. And as a result of all that, the Giants have assumed a 23-10 lead with 12:33 to go in the ball game. Vern Lundquist along with Herb Cross here at Giant Stadium. What has been the big change, do you think, for the Giants in the second half, Herb?
Well, no question. Offensively, they changed their offensive game plan, throwing the ball on first down instead of running on first down. And on defense, they're simply playing with a higher level of intensity. I mean, Lawrence Taylor in the third quarter was awesome.
A lot of good field position for the Giants in this quarter as well. And they've got it again because the Lions have the ball at their own 8-yard line. 92 yards away, Rusty Hilger at quarterback. Handed off up the middle. And a battle as James Jones is knocked down. Well, let's check in once again with Brent Musburger, see what is going on elsewhere around the league.
Vern, here's what's going on right now with the Cleveland Browns. They lead 19-3. They have sacked Randall Cunningham 7 times, 2 touchdowns for Don Strock, but they have lost Webster Slaughter with a broken arm. Meanwhile, Mark Rippon has been knocked out for the Redskins. They're dominating the Cardinals, and now Archer is quarterbacking. Let's go back to Vern.
Boy, David Archer, late of Atlanta, Miami, signed as a free agent after Doug Williams went down. And after Jay Schrader had been traded, Stan Humphries on the injured reserve list. Here's Hilger out of the backfield to James Jones. He's got the first down and more. And still running. What an effort by the fullback of the Lions. First down, out to the 33, Terry Kennard with the tackle.
This has to make Coach Rodgers smile because he has high regard for James Jones. He came up in the league a few years ago, highly touted, the kind of a back who had great power, but seemed to be easing off somewhat in the last year or so. Had assorted injuries and such, but watch this run. Great power, great balance, but more importantly, Vern, tremendous determination. He was determined to break up field for his ball club. What a great run.
That's a first down after a gain of 26. It's the first down in this half for the Lions. And they're now on plus yardage for the half for the first time. Hilger pumps, hands off. Eric Dorsey says no thank you. Dorsey came blowing right through Harvey Salem. And into the face of Gary James. Beautiful October afternoon in the New York metropolitan area. A sellout crowd on hand. They've awakened to a degree in the second half. They slept through most of the first 30 minutes as the Giants erupted with 16 third quarter points, and they lead at 23-10 now with 10:23 to go in the ball game. Second down and 17. Chadwick left, Manley right. James out of the backfield. Behind the intended receiver, good coverage from Johnny Cooks, the linebacker, who got in the way of the pass.
Really not a good throw on Hilger's part, Vern. He threw right into the heart of the coverage of the defense. Had he gotten up, the ball up a little bit, the Giants may have had a pretty good chance to pick it off. He just didn't read that play well.
Hilger now 7 of 20, and most of those incompletions have came. Forget the sociology degree. I majored in English. They have came. And they also came in this half. Third down and 17. My merciful goodness, I can't believe I said that. Low snap from Mott. Hilger left side, diving catch. Gary Lee, no catch. Incomplete. Pepper Johnson helping the head linesman out. Giants 28th in the league. You believe that coming in? They have been giving up 391 yards. Today they've allowed 149. Now, one thing that'll help you get healthy is playing the line offense, because they were 26th in the league coming in.
Yeah, but it's still hard to believe the Giants would have been ranked 28. I mean, they're too good to be that low.
That's a terrific punt from Jim Arnold. McConkey at the 26. That's a nice run back by Phil McConkey. He's down at the 38-yard line. Tackle made by George Jameson. 47-yard punt, 14 on the return. 9:48 left in this one before we get to the second half of the doubleheader. Look at this average on first down. The Lions half a yard. The Giants 5.6.
There's your ball game right there.
Phil Simms back. Bill Parcells says he's the most courageous athlete I've got. He's taken so many big hits this year. And off Otis Anderson, who's in the lineup. Darts to the outside. Boy, he's played well today. And that's another big first down gain after the 48-yard line. Bobby Watkins makes the tackle. And it was Maurice Carthen with the block.
Vern, the thing you like about Otis Anderson is he's always ready to play. He takes good care of himself. He's always in great shape and hasn't played a lot since he came here from the Cardinals to the Giants. Sort of played a backup role and kind of a fill-in type player. But whenever Bill Parcells needs him and needs a big effort out of him, the old vet steps up and gives it what he has.
That's a gain of 8. Second down and 2. Anderson for the day now with 36 yards on 11 carries. They'll test the middle with Maurice Carthen, and that is close for the first down. I don't think he got it. Maybe a half yard short. Parcells did not enjoy coaching this team a year ago. But I remember talking to him back in August and September. He said, this year I'm having fun again. The strike particularly was bitter for him. But he's a little exasperated by what's going on. Now, he said the problems have been defensive, and they've been with players whom he knows but will not publicly identify. And here's Carthen. He's got the first down. Nice effort. Benny Blades with the tackle. Giants, as we said, finished 5th, and they've got the 5th place schedule. Here's what awaits them in the next 5 games. At Atlanta, at Detroit. Then they've got Dallas at home. Phoenix, the only winning team on that list of 5. And Phoenix is losing heavily today. And Philadelphia at 500 coming in, also losing today. It's not the toughest schedule in the NFL.
Not tough, but he doesn't want them to look beyond today's opponent. You know, you hate to say it, but you take them as they come. That's how you win.
First down 10, New York. 8:20 to go in this one. Anderson comes left. Otis. Jerry Ball makes the tackle with help from Benny Blades.
You have to be impressed by Otis Anderson's effort today. You know, running backs take a lot of punishment. You know, whether they're blocking or carrying the ball over a period of years, it begins to take its toll. And Otis Anderson's been doing it for 10 years, and it's a tough way to make a living. But he's done it and looks awfully good today.
Well, you saw the 41 yards he's accomplished today. He came in the first 6 games with a total of 25. And it appears it's going to be his day to shine in the backfield. Second down and 5. Now Joe Morris with Carthen leading the way. And little Joe is tripped up at the 39-yard line. Michael Koper makes the tackle. Don't forget, Game 2 of the doubleheader coming up for all of you except in the New York metropolitan area. And most of you will watch the 49ers against the Rams, the first meeting of the year between those two teams. The Rams with Kevin Green playing tenacious defense at home. The 49ers knocked off last week in overtime by Denver, and they're struggling just a little bit.
With San Francisco, there's some question about whether or not San Francisco's linebacker play is as good as they want it to be, particularly to get back into the Super Bowl hunt. I mean, they have a great offense, but if you want to pick on the 49ers, the way to do it is to pick on those linebackers because their pass coverage is questionable.
Looks like they were checking for stickum on Otis Anderson's gloves. 3rd and 2. Clock winding down. They didn't get the play call. That'll be delay of game. That'll cost the Giants 5.
delay, offense, number 11, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Makes it a 3rd and 7 for New York.
Vern, you really have to be careful at this stage of the game, and it's really slipping away from the Lions right now, that you don't sit back and say, okay, let's just sort of play it out and, kind of go through the motions here. Not that they would go through the motions, but I think the Lion defense has to come alive. They have to force a turnover. No matter how it comes, force a turnover.
Lions have 12 men on the field. Jamison gets off in time. Play fake. Sims pulls up. Still searches and goes deep. McConkey wide open. He beat Bruce McNorton. First down, New York at the 17. A gain of 28 as McConkey and Sims ad-libbed it.
Bruce McNorton is the man that the Giants have decided they're going to pick on today. He's given up quite a few big plays. McConkey really improvised quite nicely on that play. Running a crossing pattern, he realized Sims was in trouble, cut off his pattern, came back to the quarterback for the big catch. And McNorton is really taking it on the chin today.
McNorton, a 7-year man out of Georgetown, had played well this year. First down and 10, New York with a 23-10 lead and 5.5 to go in the game. Carpet inside the 15. 5:22 to go. Lions are almost at the point where they've got to have that turnover that Irv mentioned if they have any hopes of getting back in this. And if you joined us late, it was a Giant team under Bill Parcells that looked really somnolent the first half. They looked like they were sleepwalking through the first 30 minutes. Came out, began throwing on first down when they opened the second half, got a 51-yard touchdown toss to Baker. And their passing offense today, 320 yards, much of that on first down. Second down right now. Little Joe Morris into big Chris Spielman, or little Chris Spielman at 6 foot.
Well, 6 foot, 247 pounds, with a heart a mile high. I mean, he just plays with great intensity. And it's really pretty much, you very seldom see this on a football team where a rookie steps into a lineup, particularly on defense, and sort of inspires everybody else. So Spielman's that kind of a player. And he's gotten everybody playing with a higher level of intensity, and as a result, the Lions have a first-class defense today.
12 tackles unofficially for Chris Spielman already in the ballgame.
And he wants more. He wants more.
Third down. Giants 9 of 15 on third down conversions. Morris, nice move. First and goal, New York. And Spielman gets his 13th tackle, but he had to save the touchdown.
For that kind of a move, the sort of thing that Coach Rodgers was talking about today, and we asked him about his running games. Well, running backs run with certain instincts. You just can't teach the ability to cut back and feel your way through seams. You don't have holes on a football field. You have seams, and backs have to find it. And Joe Morris has great balance and great vision. He has terrific peripheral vision. He can see from sideline to sideline very well. As a result, when things open up on the outside, he finds that gap, that alleyway, and slips up there. A play that should have lost a yard, gains 5 or 6.
Morris is out on first and goal. Otis Anderson back in the lineup. Brad Beckman, the extra tight end. They'll give it to Otis Anderson, who tries to climb over the back of an offensive tackle and runs into Jerry Ball, among others. Any of you who have ever talked with Joe Morris or heard him speak know he is among the quietest of men. And it was such fun yesterday to hear Phil Simms talk about this fella in the Monday night game. He said, I don't know what got into him, but he was screaming in the huddle, give me the ball, give me the ball. And he played quite well, but he was on an emotional tear in that Monday night game against Philadelphia.
He was really pumped up, and Bill Parcells said he has never seen Joe Morris play so hard. He just ran his heart out.
Now Anderson is going out. Riesenberg had gone out. They're going to escort Otis Anderson over to the sideline.
We have a problem here.
Is that with the gloves?
I think it might be his equipment, because he checked his gloves when he came in. He went out and he came back for a play. They checked his gloves, and you kind of jokingly said maybe he has stickum or something on his gloves. And I think he has a kind of a glove. There's sort of a sticky surface on the glove. It's just a synthetic material, sort of like plastic and rubber kind of thing, and it feels sticky and tacky. If he wants to come back to the game, I think the referee is telling him he may have to take those gloves off.
Well, remember, we'll see if he got thrown out. I don't think so, but we'll check. Now there's a jersey change going on. I wonder if he has Vaseline in the jersey. Possible. You don't see that with running backs most of the time.
I've never heard of a running back put Vaseline on his jersey. Offensive linemen will oftentimes do it to keep defensive linemen off of him. But, you know, O.J. has been slippery today.
Wily, cagey old veteran. Stick him on his shirt. Look at him grin on the sideline. Oh, we saw Hancock make a check of his gloves a while ago. High formation. Toss. Joe Morris. Flag down. Touchdown if the play stands. Lee Rousson or Maurice Carthen led the way in. Now then, there's the incriminating evidence. That's a heavy sigh from Parcells. What a way to make a living.
Holding. Offense.
Why am I doing this?
10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
I'm just an old Jersey boy.
So exasperating. You work like crazy to get within scoring position. You come up with an apparent touchdown and put yourself back in a hole again. But again, you can credit somewhat the aggressiveness of that Lion defense too. They haven't yielded here. They're going to make the Giants fight for every inch they get.
My gosh, I got a first and goal. I got a running back, 10-year veteran, thrown out because he's got Stickum on his jersey. I got an inexperienced tight end. He holds. We get a touchdown. I got Atlanta coming up. They're tough. I got Detroit in 2 weeks. An unmerciful way to make a living. Here's Morris. And Joe's down at the 7. If he's acting that way, what do you think Darryl Rogers is feeling right now?
Has to be kind of down because he's been so close in so many ball games. He can go back and dissect this season and find where 2 or 3 players have turned games around for him, or penalties last week, heavily penalized against the Chicago Bears last week. And it's just that kind of year for the Lions right now. Defensively, they put together a formidable force, and he said next year, if they have a chance, he'll continue to build the defense.
2-minute warning in New York. Giants up by 13. 2 minutes remaining in this one. Game number 7, 1988 season. Otis Anderson with a new jersey on. Sans Stickum.
The other jersey stuck to the wall in the locker room.
Well, you can laugh about it when you win, and they're winning. And those fellas haven't realized yet that they're on television. Now he does. 3rd and goal from the 8. Hand off Morris. Touchdown, New York. And Morris comes up limping. Not sure whether it's an ankle or a knee. And little Joe will be helped over to the Giants sideline. He got the touchdown. While they take time out for the injury, we'll take this time out. Joe Morris on the left after the touchdown. Otis Anderson with the sticky shirt to his right, offered to put some Stickum on the toe. I don't know that this is official, but we've been told that Anderson had pine tar on his jersey. Put in a call to Bartlett Giammetti. Call Jay Howell. We got the extra point coming up. After Joe Morris's touchdown, Raul Alegre will try and make it a 30-10 game with 1:56 to go in the ball game. It's good. Watch the touchdown run of Joe Morris, and we'll get a report on the injury. He goes over Devon Mitchell.
You have to admire his determination, but again, Joe Morris has great balance and tremendous vision. He sees the seam off his left guard and broke right between 2 defenders. They didn't even see him coming into the end zone. Of course, Devon Mitchell hasn't had much live tackling work because he's been on the injured list for the Lions. But here's the handoff again Joe Morris coming over his right guard, finding the alleyway there, and breaking upfield for the touchdown.
And how about the block of Eric Moore on Dennis Gibson to open the hole at the line of scrimmage? A 61-yard drive in 12 plays, 7:52, and Morris gets the touchdown. Joe has 49 yards on 15 carries now. And he's still 10 shy of the record of Alex Webster, so apparently he'll get that next week in the game in Atlanta. No official report from the bench whether it's turf toe or an ankle injury, but we'll try and get that for you. Here's the kick. And it's Gary Lee on the return. We have a doubleheader coming up next. Most of you will see the Rams and the 49ers. And tonight on 60 Minutes, if we sometimes look like a wholly owned subsidiary of Japan, is it because our best negotiators are for sale to the other side? That's tonight on 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie Out of Africa Part 1 with Robert Redford and Meryl Streep. That's all tonight on CBS. First down 10 Detroit, 1:52 to go. This one will go in the win column for the Giants with a second half explosion. And Rusty Hilger now 7 of 21 for 109 yards, one touchdown that came in the first half. A 39-yard pass to Gary James. Left side, caught by Scott Williams, the third-year running back out of Georgia. And he is tackled by Pepper Johnson. That stops the clock with 1:47 remaining. Bring you up to date elsewhere around the league. Mark Rippon with a big day. Randall Cunningham sacked 9 times in that game for minus 67 yards. And Cleveland wins it. New England may hand Cincinnati its first loss of the year. Houston winning big. The Raiders are winning by 10 over Kansas City.
And Coach Parcells told us to keep an eye on Phoenix and Washington today. We'll find out how good Phoenix is. The Redskins dominating that game 33-17. He said that if we can get a mini streak going of 3 or 4 games in a row, we can separate ourselves from the crowd, provided Washington knocks off Phoenix.
Second down and 3. Hilger goes deep for Chadwick. Double coverage and overthrow. Adrian White, number 36, the second-year man from Florida back. Rusty Hilger picks himself up. Hilger out of Oklahoma State, starter with the Raiders a year ago, then placed on waivers in the last cut. Now Paco Craig from UCLA comes in. Tough to get an offense installed in a little less than a week, really one full week of preparation for Hilger this week. And the clock says 1:41 to go. Gary reasons up the middle. Hilger rolls out, and he'll have to run. He's got the first down, and still running. And is out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Vern, everybody's been making their observations about the injuries to quarterbacks in the league this year and how that's affected ball clubs. But most coaches around the league consider the quarterback to be about 65% of your offense. Now consider the Lions have lost both their quarterbacks. Then Hilger comes in from scratch. You've lost 65% of your offense, so it's very difficult to get anything going offensively, and it's really a shame for any ball club to have to play without, experienced quarterbacks who know their systems during the course of the season.
Injury on the last play, Harvey Salem, the starting right tackle, once the number 2 draft choice of the Houston Oilers, injured on that play. Well, this one's about over. We've got the doubleheader coming up for you. Most of you seeing the Rams and the 49ers next. Next week, the Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles in this muddled up NFC Eastern race. And they will apparently need a big win to get back on track, and the Eagles lost today. The Giants on the road at Atlanta next week. Others of you will see Minnesota against Tampa Bay, while still others of you will watch Detroit at Kansas City. That begins at 12:30 Eastern time with the NFL today. And then we'll have a late game for you. Some of you will watch the Redskins, who are big winners today, going up against a Green Bay team that was knocking off Minnesota. The Packers are on the verge of winning their second in a row. So all of a sudden they have awakened. That's next week. Right now we've got a 30-10 game. And Harvey Salem walks off by himself. Eric Sanders, number 64, comes in. And many of the folks have gone home here.
We saw shades of Giant football, but the Lions all year long, Vern, have had trouble with their offensive line with injuries. Salem was a guy who came into the game with an injury and probably aggravated the game just a minute ago.
Steve Mott just turns around and looks back at Rusty Hilger. He has a shotgun. Snap is back. 4-man rush. Hilger deep left side. Perry Williams with good coverage on Paco Craig. And not much concern about that one being completed.
One of the things that Coach Parcells may well have talked to his team about at halftime, and I'm only guessing because I know pretty much what he wanted to do this week, but he said that you have about 70 defensive plays in a game, and that you play right now. Their team is playing 55 good and 15 lousy, the way he says it. In order to have a good team, you have to play 65 good. And I think he probably reminded them at halftime that they'd played lousy football the first half, and let's get out there in the second half and make up for it. And had to turn around.
Giants opened up in the second half with a 51-yard touchdown toss on their first possession. That changed everything. The shading of this game completely. Again, the 4-man rush. Stunts. Pass over the middle to Tony Page, the fullback. And he's got a Detroit first down at the 41-yard line. Tackle made by Pepper Johnson. Lions have 2 timeouts left if they choose to use them, but they're down by 20. Harvey Salem has come back into the lineup. For Darryl Rogers and the team, 6th loss in a row, and they're on the road again at Kansas City next week, then back home against the Giants in 2 weeks. Sacked by the old man, George Martin. That is the 6th sack today. And George Martin got this one. What a pleasure he is to talk with, Herb.
A class individual, because George is president of the Players Association and well thought of by all the players in the Giant team as well as many players around the league, but he's played hard and for the Giants for a number of years and has always given it his best effort. He's going to some big plays for him. That was a big one.
On that last play, there was a flag, which we didn't see, and it was a spearing call against the Giant defense, a 15-yard penalty and a first down. So wipe out the sack and push the number back to 5. Giants will go 4-3 and apparently be tied for the lead with the Phoenix Cardinals and the Washington Redskins after today's play. I know most of the coaches in the East think that only the winner of the division will go to the playoffs, that the other divisions are playing too well to get a wild card team out of this division. Hilger, there's number 6. Leonard Marshall. He's been in the doghouse. He's going to be glad to get out of it.
He's been in a real deep doghouse. He's had a growing pull and been aggravated with that all year, but there's some feeling that maybe he should have been playing better than he was. And yesterday he told me that the groin was still bothering him, but it didn't make any difference because he had to, well, so to speak, put up or shut up. And he hoped to have a good game today, and he came up with a great effort there.
That's sack number 6, 36 seconds to go in the ball game. 33, and it's winding down. 6 sacks for the Giants. Rusty Hilger, 9 of 25 for 131 yards. This could be the final play. Should be, unless it's an incomplete pass. And it's an incomplete pass. We'll get one more. Sheldon White defending Pete Manley on that play. Lions go to 1-6. The Giants go to 4-3. And New York still has not won 2 in a row this year. They've been on a teeter-totter. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. The Giants, or the Lions, the other way. They've lost 6 in a row now. Herb Cross stepping in for Terry Bradshaw. First time you've done this in what, 13 years?
About 13 years, yeah. 13 or 14. It's been a long time, but I enjoyed every minute of it. It's really exciting to be up in the booth and work a ball game, and Vern, I really enjoyed every minute with you.
It was a pleasure, Herb.
Got to get Terry back here, though.
We'll have him back next week, and you enjoy being back with Brett and Herb and Will in the studio. Here's Hilger. For Paco Craig. Incomplete. And we've got 5 seconds left. We'll have one more play. 4th down. Lions led 10-7 at the half. They had 2 turnovers in the first half, converted both into points. A touchdown toss and a field goal to take a 10-7 lead, but then New York came alive in the third quarter. 3 field goals and a touchdown. They got another touchdown here in number 4 and made it 30-10. And this will be the last play of the ball game. No. Oh, sure. Call time. Rusty Hilger gets moved. And while you look at the diminishing numbers of folks who are here, the names of some of the people who have helped us out today. Lions have one timeout left and a 4th and 21, and Rusty wanted to make darn sure he had the right play on.
You don't want to waste a play, Vern.
Detroit 1-6. Giants 4-3. Giants at Atlanta next week. And then they go back to Detroit. This is the first time the Lions have played here since the stadium opened in 1976 when the Giants beat them in that ball game. And the woes continue. They have not had an easy task. They were at San Francisco 2 weeks ago. They got Chicago at home last week and then at New York. And they're back on the road next week for an AFC encounter in Kansas City. 5 seconds to go. Final play of the game. The ultimate alley-oop. And it's intercepted. Picked off by Adrian Knight. Now, he's not going to try and go the 100 yards. It'll come back to the 30-yard line. A 30-yard return. For Irv Cross, I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from Giant Stadium, where our final score was the Giants 30, Detroit 10. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after these